Come on. They're right there. Let's go. Move.
This episode of Choices Not Chances podcast is sponsored by Louisiana Gun Shop, located on Highway 90 West in Broussard, Louisiana, just south of Lafayette. For more information, stay tuned at the end of this episode. This is Choices Not Chances podcast with Ryan and Matt. I'm your co-host, Matthew Charette. Sitting next to me is Ryan Rogers. Ryan?
All right, guys. Hey, thanks for showing up. Thanks for coming back out. Glad everybody's with us. Today our guest is an active duty Marine. He's a Gunnery Sergeant Marcus Rains. He's been through a myriad of different experiences in the Marine Corps and entrepreneurship, starting a company himself. And I met Marcus for the first time in Infantry Squad Leaders course, 2011, 2010, late 2010. It was cold, so cold. And we kind of hit it off right at school. Both of us had just come off of, some deployments where we had some real-time experience to, take into the classroom. And we'd actually practically applied a lot of the things that they teach in that school. And so we kind of hit it off and teamed up all the way through the thing. And one thing I was telling Matt when I was, kind of giving him the introduction to who you were to me and how this came up, and was that like almost every school I ever went to, and I don't mean this in a braggadocious way, but it was very hard to find other people that wanted it as bad as me, or that would drive me and allow me to, drive them. And that's something that I got from you there, was that we were both on the same level, both coming off of experience, kinetic fights. And then it was like, oh yeah, you're like me, and okay, let's go. Yeah. And then I was telling him even about the squad comp, how some of the instructors would be like, just go, you know, because we'd come up and be rattling casts off off the top, off the rib. So that was pretty cool. And so that had an impact on me. And then, man, I started the podcast and started with a whiteboard, and it's like, okay, who are people that I know that have impacted me towards the positive in my life? And then it's just like listing names down. You're one of the names that come up. Got up with you, several weeks ago. So, hey, what do you think about this? And here we are. So thank you so much for coming out, and let's get after it. I guess we just kind of start where you started. Go about your childhood. And
it was, you don't meet a lot of people from Lake Charles, so he's not from there, but he brought it up. I am from, so I was born in Louisiana. I don't say that often, right? People don't offer that out there, even though I'm proud of it, but I don't offer it. But but raised in Texas, so that's what I really bring out. Because if if somebody's not from Texas, or if they are, the only way you find out is you just give them a couple of seconds and they'll tell you, right? Right? Like, hey, by the way, I'm from Texas. If you didn't,
and it's bigger.
Or you see them drive down I-10 and cut you off while you're on I-10.
And that's where I enlisted in the Marine Corps from, is Texas. Something I always kind of thought about growing up. Like, hey, that'd be kind of cool. Not that I had ever like a real serious thought about doing it. I didn't even know if I had a serious thought ever growing up. But I really wanted to play sports. Is what I really wanted to do. I thought I was going to be the next Chipper Jones or something. Yes. Playing high school baseball. I thought I was a lot better than I think I really was. You think
dream big, princess.
And I went to a couple of I graduated and I had these like grand ideas. I'm going to go. Went to a couple of college tryouts and realized, whoa, I'm a little kid, and these guys are men out here. This may not be. And I had a coach tell me, he said, hey, listen, man, you're good. You're good at a lot of things. You're not great at anything. He said, you're just not. He said, you're not big. You're not real fast. You don't have a great arm. Yeah. But you can do stuff. You can do everything. Good. But he goes, you see that guy right there? This guy's 6'3", 230 pounds. He's like, he's got something I can't teach you. Size. I could teach him to do everything you're doing, but a lot better. He said, all right.
Have a good one, bub.
Yeah. And then I went and tried out for the Marine Corps, and I made it. Right.
I've never heard it put like that, but I like it.
Yeah. I tried out, made it. All right. They brought me in. Right. That was I graduated high school in 2006, joined in 2006, took that little summer break, joined in the fall.
Oh, yeah.
That was back in the days where, now if you want to be an infantry guy or Marine, you can, it takes a year in some places. Wait time.
Really?
To get in, it's a lot different. When I joined 2006, the guy was like, well, when would you like to go? So, I don't know. What are you thinking? How's 2 weeks sound?
Now? Or?
Yeah, he's like 2 weeks. You can be ready in 2 weeks. I was like, I don't even know. Like, yeah, he's like, yeah, you can.
Sure you can.
We got this.
He's like, you're 18, right? Like, yeah, you can.
Oh, you can be ready.
Yeah, you can be
You're ready now.
Yeah, you're ready. We just got some minor complications to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a couple little hurdles.
Yeah. If you, remember, no means new opportunities. Remember that when you're filling that out,
Yeah.
But,
Check.
I'm moving.
And so you go to East Coast, West Coast?
West Coast, yeah. I went to Paris Island for the first time in my life a few months ago.
How'd you like it?
I actually liked it a lot.
Pretty nice
It
joint.
shows you, though, that the Marine Corps will pay for things they really care about.
That's a fact. High
You know-
vis.
Oh, yeah. They got, what I found awesome? When somebody like me coming in who's lived in the worst barracks in the world. I lived in French Creek,
Yes.
and just some of the worst HP whatever barracks, my first 5 years in the Marine Corps. And I come down to this place and they got, park benches with like metal engravings, on it. And I'm like, that's nice.
That's awesome.
That's nice. These parents are like, wow, this is going to be a really nice place
They
for
really
you guys.
care about this.
Yeah, right. This is a real nice place for you guys. Like, yeah, it is, Mom. Like, yeah. Just wait.
I'll tell you about the asbestos buildings and the hard water later.
Yeah. Get on down to North Carolina.
Yeah, part of me is like glad that op tempo when we were in that time was so good.
Yeah.
7 in, 7 out. Only half the year you were living
Yeah.
like shit.
Well, yeah. Well,
Go on deployment to get a better living situation.
my first barracks room, we had 4 people in it.
Oh, mine too.
Or
All
5.
the way up.
Yeah, or 5 people. I didn't even know you couldn't do that. You know that,
Yeah, that was just the way.
like, hey, here's all of your roommates. Like, where are we all going to sleep?
Oh, we got bunk beds? Where's
Yeah, we
our
got-
gear go?
yeah,
oh, we
we-
got these sweet things you can
You
put
got
in
2
there.
lockers. You guys figure it out.
8 lockers in this 100 square foot room.
Hey, can we figure out a rotation for the bathroom in the morning? Right? Like, oh, God. You got 1 sink and 1 toilet.
Get tight, get hard, man.
Now, it's so much different. They look out for guys now, man.
Yeah, that's good.
They really do.
Maybe we've learned some things.
I think too is dudes know that they can say something now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you could say
No, I
nothing.
didn't know either.
Maybe if that thought ever crossed my mind, it was quickly batted away.
You beat it out of your own mind when
Yeah.
when it crossed it.
Did I
You know,
say
when-
something? No.
No, yeah, man, I should really say something about this. No, you shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
You just go outside and get it some more. I
Run harder.
Yeah, that just I think about it now. The Marine Corps does a good job at taking guys in right away, Marines in right away, and just protecting them right from anything that could go wrong, because they've seen the stuff that has.
Don't want to repeat history.
Well, too, it's not the Marine Corps' fault. It's the people who abused its fault. It really is. I mean,
The system's
that's
perfect
true.
and the people are
Well,
imperfect.
the system is just the system, right? It's black. Like, of course, you say, oh, you can't assault people. Like, oh, all right. You can't haze people, right? Okay. Well, the problem with it is that people have came along and just, because there's a fine line that can be tread, right? Because some people do walk a fine line, between training and
Oh, yeah.
overarching kind of things. But it's the people that have just completely abused it.
Yeah, they weren't on the fine line.
No, they just went straight for it, and they kind of messed it all up for everybody. There's too many stories out there, too many reports, too many investigations for a commander to ever be like, yeah, I'm not going to worry about it.
No, you have to worry about
Yeah.
it. And we talked about this, before offline. We've talked about it several times, but like maybe it's just me and my personality. I didn't get off at yelling at people. I didn't get off on fucking with people.
No.
I got off on training them and molding them and making them good. And I think what a lot of people let slip through the cracks is like they feel like there's a complacency, like we're not really going to war, or we won't really get in a situation where this guy that I'm hazing has to come carry me out of a firefight. And like that's the reality, though. It
really, and honestly, it probably will be that guy. Just the way it all shakes out.
That's how it happens,
right? It's going to be that guy,
and he's going to come get you.
Yeah, he will, because he's a human being, and most we like to. There's a lot of bad humans in this world, but a lot of the good ones get filtered into the military because it's still a volunteer force, right? No matter what circumstances led you to it, right? You still gotta have this kind of like drive to still go through this piece of struggle to volunteer. Say, okay, well, I'm gonna go to this recruit training for 12, 13 weeks. I'm gonna endure it, and then go endure this and stay in it, stay the course, right? It separates, right? There's a lot of good people in the Marine Corps. It's a very microscopic view of like some of the best people that you'll ever come across.
For sure, 100%.
So even if they're not good at what they do, because it's a fact of the matter. Like if I were to go do something else, I probably wouldn't be very good at it. If you just say, hey, go be a mechanic, go in a car garage, and be like, good God, all right. There's some Marines that just aren't good at marining. Fact of the matter.
No, fact.
Right. They're good people, right? But they can, you got those people out there just slamming them down constantly. Yeah, but that good person, that good dude, when things really go bad, you don't really need the best of the best as far as like who's the fastest on the draw, or you just need a good guy who's
somebody's got some heart.
Right, not even think about it, just come up to you and be like, yeah, I'm gonna grab you by your little strap back there and pull you, and drag you. You know what I mean? You're gonna look up and be like, oh, my bad, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry for all those.
And like what I guess my view on it is, it shouldn't take us getting into combat to make that realization and say, oh, now it's okay for me to treat this human being properly.
I'll give you, this is just a kind of hammer it home, Ramadi. When I was in Ramadi in 2007 through 2008, I got to the fleet, and I got to 2-8, my first unit in 2007. So I'd say early spring 07, and we deployed October, so not a long time, enough time, not a long time to get ready. I tell you what, we were in the field. That's the difference too. Is now, back then they had just got back from Iraq too. They'd only been back for about 6-7 months.
Yeah.
These guys were tired. You could just tell they were in Fallujah, a place called Karma.
Yep.
They were tired, man. These guys were, I showed up, and
those are rough.
They had a rough deployment too. Rough. They lost probably 20.
And this is 2-2?
This is 2-8.
2-8, sorry.
I think they lost, maybe 20 guys.
Right.
Multiply that by 3, 4, 5 injured,
And that's your seniors when you check in. Yeah.
And, I remember showing up. I flew from, I was over in Pendleton. They said, hey, all of you machine gunners from our machine gun class said, hey, you're all going to 3-5 and 7th Marines. And they're like, you, like 3 or 4, you're going to 2-8. And we're all like, where is that at? 8. What part of California is that in? They're like, no, that's North Carolina, buddy. Like, well, how are we getting there? Like, oh, I don't know. You're going to hop on this bus and you're going to catch a flight. Oh, that's cool. I appreciate that. Right? Like, I appreciate that, Marine Corps. Like, look at this beautiful place.
Send me to Jacksonville.
Yeah. But I had no idea where this place was.
Right.
I'm from Texas. I go to California. I'm getting ready to go to North Carolina. The only thing I knew about North Carolina was, when you recite to your drill instructor, they say, like, they ask you, where's 2nd Marine Division? That knowledge. Like, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I was like, oh, I know where that is. I've said it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
To my drill instructor over there.
Couldn't find it on a map, though.
And I flew in at like 3 in the morning. I got to OAJ. I didn't know what that was. It was called that at the time.
Yeah.
Some van picked us up with a sergeant. He's like, yeah, you guys get in this van. Pulls up. We got our bags. He's like, hey, See that barracks right there? That's yours. And I just see a bunch of it's now it's like 3 or 4 in the morning. There's still dudes out there.
Oh, yeah.
They got back from Fallujah like 3 weeks ago.
Party on.
Oh man, they're just all out there, shirts off. What's 4 in the morning? They're still awake.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah.
Waiting on you.
Wait. So me and a few other guys, we step out and they're like, "Hey," the duty from that barracks meets us out there, and he's like, "Come here."
Be very careful.
Yeah. He's like, "Listen to me. You go in this room. You don't come out." He said, "You lock it. You don't. You don't. No matter who knocks, unless it's me, I'll make it clear that it's me. Unless it's me, you do not open this door
If
for
you
anything."
value your life.
I remember just going in there. Like I didn't have a cell phone, right? No cell phone. This was cell phones were around, but it's not when you had them. I remember sitting there like, where am I right now? So you can't just
I'm in a building.
Right? You can't pick your phone up and like search. I don't have no cell phone. I don't have a computer. No internet. There wasn't a thing that there's no Wi-Fi, right? I'm just sitting there, just like, where am I? I just flew into. All I knew is I got in a van and I'm just driving through the woods. That's what it looked like. Right here in eastern North Carolina, because it just landed right down over here, right
here. Yeah.
Driving in, just seeing eastern North Carolina, just like what have I? And that I remember was the first time I ever questioned my
Decision making.
Recruit training is what it is. You just
keep on eating. It's got to go somewhere.
just be quiet. Do what you got to do. But that was the first time I remember sitting in that room going, this can't be what everybody was talking about.
This isn't cool.
This isn't cool at all. Like,
Low speed
I felt
high drag.
unprotected. That's what I felt like. I remember the next day, I ventured out of my room at like 10:30. I kind of felt like, I remember I was up all night, just like, I didn't know where to put my stuff in the room. There was obviously another person in there, but I don't know who this guy is. So I'm just like, man, I hadn't unpacked nothing. I finally venture out of my room, like, nobody's up, of course, right? They hit the wall
Hard.
They had payphones in the barracks,
Uh-huh.
so I called my mom. And it's like, where are you? Like, I'm in North Carolina. Oh, okay, like, all right, that's it. That's all I got for you. I'm in North Carolina. I'm in a building.
It's brick.
I don't even know the name of this place. Don't even know it. Some sergeant picked me up, took me here. What I was referring to earlier, we do so much better now.
Yeah,
we
dude.
really do.
What's funny is as you say that, I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, that's just so not the way, and I know that now.
Yeah.
But when like later in my career, I'm a sergeant and I'm picking guys up from SOI, and the sergeant major's making me carry their sea bags and be nice and get them to their rooms. I remember like having that attitude about it, like, this is not the way. This is not. I think it is the way.
It is. I think
It's
the
the
part
way.
of you feels like this, and I know I had the same thought. I was like, well, that's not how I did it. This is going to make them weak, But it's not, right? It's the right way to do business. When the Marine Corps for so long, the people inside of it, they just got taught the wrong way.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes from peacetime. It comes from going so long without realizing what the national treasure that you command, right? Because then when you lose them, it slams you, and it's like there's no time to be like this. There's no time for this.
The thing is, you don't want that to be the thing that, like, you don't use that to be the loud thing, right? Use the training to be the thing that gets their attention, not that, right? You can be nice and cordial.
No, how much more impactful is it when they come in and maybe it's like that first training op and everything's, then it's like, this is it.
Yeah, that they come
but
through.
But if you've crushed them before that.
Right, they're already like a scared dog, They really are, because that's how I was. I trusted nobody at first because I was just like, everybody's out to get me. I got to be on my, all the time. But that's not how you should feel, right? You should. The training should do the speaking for the unit, right? It's like for the people. It's like, oh, that's wow. I better get back and get my stuff together, right? Because that was legit. These guys, But to get back to we talk about the guy who's going to be the guy that who you've been yelling at, kind of treating like that. That happened to Ramadi, right? For us, 2-8, We had a pretty. It was more of a frustrating deployment than anything. Ramadi it's a massive city.
And what year is this?
This is 07.
Okay.
Into 08. And you think about it, at one time there were 3 Marine Corps battalions plus other units in the city. I mean, it tells you something. That's a lot. Yeah, And when we showed up, we were 1 battalion commanding the entire city plus the outskirts. You know what I mean? Like, so that kind of tells you there's a big transition going on in Iraq at that point. Ramadi's a good case study for counterinsurgency warfare where it worked. It really did, and we were catching that wave when we came in. There was still a big threat, but the guys who preceded us did a lot of hard work to get it to where we were, and we showed up and. I was in weapons company, but the CAT platoon thing was kind of out the door at that time. They called us MAP, Mobile Assault Platoon. But really, everybody's doing the same thing. We were getting held up in a FOB patrol base, and we were just doing, post patrol rest constantly. QRF all the time, and but why I would say it was more frustrating is because it was always in the air. You could tell. I mean, there was fights going on kind of all around. You could hear it. 1-8 was just north of us across the Euphrates, and they were getting it pretty hard a few times, and it was right across the Euphrates. You knew it was always there. We were finding IEDs and things like that. You'd hear pop shots all the time, but nothing was ever. They didn't want to break that relationship at that time. You know what I mean? We had a really good relationship with the Iraqi police at that time. Guys were bringing in drugs, money, IEDs, munitions of all type, turning them in because paying them for it. You know what I mean? Hey, why not? Money talks. So it's kind of slow, but it was always there. And, they were waiting for one big time to hit us. We spent 7 or 8 months there, and we patrolled the crap out of that place. Man, I was more tired from Iraq than I was Afghanistan later. And Afghanistan was way more intense of a fight. But Iraq just drained everybody because you never slept. You were on post for 8 hours. I stood the ECP watch right off MSR Michigan behind a 240 on a freaking orange water cooler. That was it was just this. And whoever mapped that place out, now I look back at it, like a junior Marine, you ain't worried about the fire plan sketch of the place or how it's built. You're just worried about somebody says, hey, you're watching this road, here's your 240.
And don't fall asleep.
But, I look back on it and think, God, who designed this place, man? I mean, if something that would have happened, it would have been bad. I was probably 200 meters off MSR Michigan. The post was. There was no stand, Not really.
Not enough.
No.
You got to think, though, like, we know a lot now that we didn't know then, even organizationally.
Yeah.
Like, in doing some of these interviews, you talk to guys that were 04 Ramadi and room clearing tactics, pop to the roof, cover and overwatch, travel and overwatch and cover and move. That wasn't that wasn't something that some of these guys ever even heard about, and it was
we're definitely more educated now.
Way better now, and it does make it hard. It makes it hard even on me, almost like heartbreaking to hear the interviews because they just were never taught the right way yet, and
they hadn't figured it out yet.
Those lessons learned are what taught me the right way later, or that the Marine Corps organizationally got taught the right way. But it's pretty wild sitting after going back. And being like, we've changed that, thank God. We've changed that, thank God.
Yeah.
So, expensive lessons learned.
Yeah. But how to, in our business, man, there's really not many ways you learn a lesson, right? Just kind of, hard ways are lives lost generally. And that sucks, you know what I mean? Because when you learn a lesson, it's probably on the backs of somebody's life. Right? Not a lot of businesses like that. You know what I mean? Ours is like that where you say, God, probably should have done it different.
I think that's why I push reading so much. And, I'm very, I don't know how much you follow the channel, but on my channel I push to read about your profession. If it's a lawn care read 10 books about lawn care. If it's war, read 100, because you're going to learn 100 different ways that people have done it, 100 different situations they've been in, and then how it happened, how it fell out.
You know, that's why I love the World War II era of that Pacific campaign the Marine Corps was in, and reading those books, because I think it proves, for me personally, it proves one thing when I read it, that your training is super important, right? And it never can't be, right? It's very important. But you look at those guys, man. They got them off a train, trained them for 3 or 4 weeks, put them back on a train, and sent them to Iwo Jima, and Taro, and all these places. And it was, what it really came down to is just dudes looking after each other. You know, just be good people, good, you know, strong, like, groups of men, like, out there fighting, you know. And at the end of the day, looking out for each other and caring for each other, that's what really got them through it. I mean, yeah, you could probably peel it back and say, well, if they'd have had this training and that training, but they didn't. So that's all we have to go off of. But that's why I love reading that. And these guys, I can't imagine. You know what I mean? Just can't. And, you know, we're always trying to crack the nut in the Marine Corps, trying to find the perfect piece of gear, the perfect training program, right? But you can't take away the value of just training good people, and training to be tough, right?
There's something to be said about the American fighting spirit, too, and the American way of life and American exceptionalism. And last couple of decades, it's almost like you hear a lot in the news about how that's not a good thing, and how, you know, and in the Marine Corps, we don't worry about that stuff. You take the camaraderie, you take the Marine Corps folklore, you take the traditions and the esprit de corps, and you build that, and you don't strip that down. And so I think we're better organizationally for that.
Oh man, you know, you can't, like I said, you can't find better people than you can in the Marine Corps, just because no matter what we all three came from, or what we believe, or what, like, at the end of the day, if we got tasked to do something, all of that would go out the window. One of us would be in charge. You know what I mean? We would get it done, and then we'd commiserate after the fact, right? And we would do that over and over again, and we're protected in some degree, and we choose to be protected, right? I think that's one reason why a lot of people join the military, and then they pick the Marine Corps, because it's just a protected environment. You know, we do a lot of weird stuff to each other. You know, and I say, you know, like, we will, right? We'll, you know, I'll tell you that you're a terrible, you know, 50 cal gunner, right? Hurt your feelings, but I'll never let anybody else say that to you,
right?
You know what I mean?
It's a big brother, little brother,
fire team squad.
Yeah, like I'd be like, hey,
company,
you ain't talking to him like that. I'll say it, but you can't,
right?
You know what I mean? I like that.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, it drives that intramural competition, too. I don't know how many times I'd take my platoon, either most of the time right after we got home in 2010 from Margin. Joey Harms would have his platoon, you know, to the right of me, and I'd right face my platoon, and he'd left face his platoon, and forward march, and we'd get after it, you know. And at the end of it, you might have some busted lips and some trickling noses, but everybody's laughing, hugging, next time, you know, that kind of thing. And we have that relationship. Like, I never thought that I would be beat up more in my life voluntarily. And it wasn't even in training. It'd be like quad time, and it's like, hey, let's get them. And you know you're going to get your ass whipped by like the 30 of them that you're trying to plan a hit on.
But they're getting their ass whipped just the same as you are.
Yeah, but you're going to get it in, you know. So, and it's like that. It's the best organization I ever had.
Oh man,
the pleasure of being a part of. That's a fact.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
And that comes from the people.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And I, you know, if I would have known that coming in, you know, that's something that I never even thought about when I came in. You know, that wasn't something I thought. I wasn't aware that I was seeking. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I was looking for. You know what I mean? Too young to know. You know, but you know, fortunately, I found it. You know what I mean? It took a lot of, you know, I'm not a huge believer in like divine intervention, right? And kind of like things happen I'm just a big believer in like every action has a reaction and counteraction. That's kind of where my mind's at a lot. You know, I don't think I'm not a destiny guy. You know, there's either hard work and, you know, if you go an inch to the left, well, there's going to be a reaction from that. You know, an inch to the right, whatever.
You have a belief of choices, not chances.
Yeah. I think, you know, hey.
The choices you make, not the chances.
Yeah, I don't believe.
You
know, I'll give you an example. My wife's going to listen to this and be like, she's going to be mad at me for this one, but
sorry.
You know, I don't believe there's a soulmate for everybody, right? Like that to me, that's like I cannot comprehend that. You know, because there's too many people on earth, right? Like if this is not possible, you know what I mean? Like it's up to you to make that happen. You know what I mean? It's up to you to find somebody and then work at it every day to make it. Yeah, right. Like there's not some magical person out there on a mountain that you're going to find and be like, all right, Tag, you're it. Now we don't have to work at this at all because you're the perfect person, right? Yeah. But I, you know, sorry, babe. You know,
it's about as real as utopia.
Yeah,
it's not. You got to work.
You do every
day.
day.
I think in my marriage is, and I love my wife. We have a great relationship. But I think in my life is probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with. You know, it's every day. Yeah. The responsibility of it, the weight of it. Yeah. And then it does take effort, and it's not just you. No. It takes effort on all sides of the equation.
You know, for me, I get selfish. You know, because I got goals and things I want to do that I think about every day, right? But if you get, and for a man, I think you know, I don't want to speak for other people, but like as a man, I think as the makeup of a man, sometimes you get really prideful in what you're doing. You
Absolutely.
Know what I mean? And you gotta be careful, right? You can trample everybody else on the way to it.
Yep.
You know, and I've got to watch myself sometimes because, right out, I'll have to take a step back and realize. And my wife, she keeps me in check. She'll be like, "Put your phone down. You know, you're not working this. You know, next Sunday. Are you just not? Or you know, whatever it is. Like, hey, you need to spend time with. Because if I don't go unchecked, I'll work.
Just keep on.
Keep going. Yep. And trample everything in the way to get to that next whatever. You know what I mean? It's like it's addicting.
Well, and you know, that's kind of a special trait that I see in mainly Marines, but you know, service members too, but mainly Marines, where it's just like, go. What do I have to do next? Where's my next task? What do I have to do?
Yeah, you know, compartmentalize
every section of your life and just keep pushing on the mission, whatever that is. You know,
and it's helpful.
No, that's the way you're supposed to be
successful.
As a Marine.
Yeah, but in a it can be hurtful in other contexts. Right? Sure. It really can.
Sure.
You got to know where to apply that pressure at. You know, where to kind of take that makeup that you have and put it. It works out in something like you guys are doing. Yep. You're starting something from literally nothing, right?
Yep.
You know, in a garage, all your stuff, this is your entire brainchild on this table. You know, from the pictures back here, where to put them, right? The right angles. That's all. Nobody came in here and was like, hey, you guys should do that, right? You should probably just go, right? So it's helpful in that sense, but you know, I've got to get checked a lot.
Well, I mean, it's not always helpful in the sense of having a family, and that's what you're saying about trampling. And I'm like that. My older brother's like that, and so I can't say it's necessarily a Marine thing. We are very mission driven. But I think work ethic is instilled in people before they get to boot camp. And boot camp's just to kind of hone and refine the skills that you've learned in the first 18 years from your parents, or at least that's what it used to be. And, you know, I never seen a harder worker than my dad.
Yeah, same.
Know? And we talked offline, and every one of you guys is the same way as you look at your father, and your father grinded it out.
Every day.
And he had work ethic, and he didn't do the... you know, some soft hand job. He did a job that, you know, is a blue collar, hard work job with his hands. And then you watch that your entire life. And then it's like you grow up being that because you become that, right? You're learning that. And then you go to boot camp and you realize that not everybody is like that. Or you go to an organization, or you go to your work or a new job, and you start that and you realize, okay. And what's beautiful about that to me is that means, okay, so what you're telling me is just grind. Grind and grind harder than everybody else, and I'm okay.
Yeah.
And the Marine Corps is very much like that. So when you step outside the Marine Corps, it's like there's a lot of people that aren't like you.
Yeah.
And that's an adjustment. You're not there yet, but
I'm not.
But you already got sticks in the fire for your own.
Right.
You're not going to have to worry about other parochial attitudes. You're going to have your work ethic, your brand, and have already set an expectation for that. So,
And the one thing I will say is I put expectations on myself that maybe my employer doesn't put on me. So that's another thing you have to watch out for, and meeting those expectations. Sometimes you have to deal with failure of yourself from something that someone else isn't even imposing on you. So keep that in mind when you do transition,
Nobody was ever great by not critiquing themselves and by not being hard on themselves. You won't find one Olympic medalist that isn't their worst critique.
Doesn't mean you have to enjoy it.
Doesn't mean you have to enjoy it.
You just got to be able to eat it.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Well, what's your other option?
you don't. The thing is, I hate criticism, but I don't like it. But it's necessary.
Yeah, nobody likes being told where their shortcomings are.
No,
Right.
it's painful because you don't want you just don't especially when you got something that's you've created. Somebody saying like, "Hey,
Not working.
not working, bud." Like you may think it is, but I'm gonna say one thing, and you're gonna see how it's not, and you're gonna be like, "God, you're right." Like, you're right. I got a mentor in my lawn care business, Michael Bolduc. He's been in the game for 7 years around here. Retired Marine. He was my first sergeant at one point.
Okay.
I started doing some work with him a while back, helping him out, weed eating and stuff like that for him, and really with the goal of getting in there and learning the business. I wasn't trying to go weed eat. Not really. I wasn't looking to do that. But I just learning the business a little bit, how it worked, and man, he'll criticize the shit out of me. Still, he's just that person anyway, like that. He'll see me post something on. He don't post. He ain't into the whole social media game. He just makes. That guy can hustle. He's a grinder. You know what I mean? He is. He's a business man. You know what I mean? Like he wakes up, works, and that's it. Like he's not into this kind of sexy, putting it all on the gram type thing because he don't need it. He's making enough money. He is where he is. You know what I mean? He don't need all that. But he'll call me and be like, "Hey," or text me, "Call me when you get a chance." I'm like, "Oh shit."
About to get chewed out.
Yeah, and he'll be like, so I went over there not too long ago. I'd bought some stuff, and he was going to install it for me because I was too busy. And he was like, when I came up, he was like, I got 3 things I'm going to tell you. He said, and I was like, oh man. He was like, one, I told you not to buy a brand new extra mower. I gave you a list of things you needed, and that wasn't on it. And I was like, yeah, but he wouldn't even let me. He said, no, it's a dumb move, first off. Then he went on to this other things, and I was like, yeah. But, you can't start new things without having somebody there like that.
Sure.
You got to have a mentor in some regard.
Sure.
Somebody that's at least going to kind of keep you back on track, and he'll tell me, so he'll see me post something, he looks at Facebook on a computer, if that tells you anything. Right?
Once in a while.
Right. He'll send me a snapshot of a computer screen. If that tells you anything. Like nobody looks at Facebook on a computer anymore.
No.
I'm sorry, Michael, you're listening to this, but he'll send it and be like, "How much did you do this for?" And I'll tell him, he'll be like, "You're an idiot. Way too low." Way too low.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, you're an idiot. But it's helpful. You got to have those people that criticize you like that, and I'm afraid to tell him. I'm afraid to send him pictures because I don't want that criticism. I think I did a great job. I charged the perfect price. It looks the best, right? But it is helpful.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if you guys. I'm sure you guys have people that, in this
100%.
type of.
Oh
business,
yeah,
right?
100%. We have a group of people. He's got his own group of people he talks to. I got my group of people, and some of those people are in the same groups. And one of them that's the reason for the name, that kind of the catalyst, Choices Not Chances. Our lieutenant from Marja, LT Emmanuel. One of the smartest, probably most caring leaders I've ever worked for, ever. And even still to this day, you're talking 10 years plus since we served in the same unit together. and I could call them up right now and be like, hey, I need critical analysis on the last episode, or I need critical analysis on this monologue, or hey, I need to get your thoughts, or hey, I just spoke to a bunch of Marines and I'm on a buzz right now and I need somebody, and he's that positive reinforcement, but at the same time, hey, you see this could change. Hey, do you see how many times you interrupted X guest? Stop talking. We know your story. You covered that already, and having that, of course I don't want to hear that because I'm buzzing from that, that episode. That's so great. Like what you said, we loved it so much, but then it's also necessary to have that person that zooms out your scope a little bit and says, okay, I know that was awesome, but as awesome as it is, how much better can we make it? And we can start with these 3 points. If you don't have that person, then you can really fall victim like confirmation bias of your own.
Yeah.
Yep.
You start feeding into your own bullshit and you don't get any diverse opinion from outside. At least, like one or two people removed from your actual organization, company, group, whatever, somebody that doesn't have a motivation for lying to you, and somebody that wants to see the best from you. And when you can have those people and surround those people, it's like show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
And so if you're not consulting with people that you hold to a high esteem to get critical analysis, and that doesn't matter what you're doing, in my opinion, you should be doing that and it will make it better.
Yeah. Does your wife listen to the podcast a lot?
She does.
Yeah.
I mean, usually after they air, and on occasion she'll be in here and she'll kind of watch them. So depending on who the guest is.
She ever give you advice, opinions?
No.
Yeah.
She kind of stays out of that lane.
Yeah.
She enjoys them. So.
My father listens. I mean,
Yeah.
that's his main criticism was I need to talk more, so I'm trying that in this episode.
That's good though.
But it also depends on who the person is, So it is what it is. We have one guy who's involved with the podcast behind the scenes. Shout out, you know who you are.
Shout out Zach.
You'll be out here one day. It's all good, and he plays a pretty critical role in some of it. And he said, you need to change this camera angle and this camera angle, and and you need to flip it on the recorder and this and that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I know.
My brother-in-law's like that with me. He's got his own. Him and his girlfriend have their own YouTube channel.
Good.
Okay.
Well, you want to promote
Shout out.
Yeah, Chris and Ola. If you go look at it,
Spell it.
Chris, CHRIS, and OLA, Ola.
Ola, Chris Ola, YouTube shout out.
Yeah, they do a good job, man. They just go out. They really just film all their adventures they go on. It's kind of good, wholesome stuff. Then they're talking about grinding. He's constantly doing it. You know what I mean? He's really just trying to find that. Right now, he's just trying to find that one thing.
Niche.
Just get in it. You know what I mean? I mean, if you got kids.
Yep.
You know who Blippy is?
Yep.
No.
If that guy can make it on, you know what I mean?
Anybody can.
Anybody can.
You got to find that niche, baby.
Right? He's got like 45 million followers. You know what I mean? He
Silly.
dresses up in suspenders. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with a
What are
little
we doing?
spinning helicopter
Yeah.
thing on his head.
What are we doing here right now?
He's worth like 30 million. You know what I mean? Hey, all the power to him.
Yeah.
He found it, right?
Get after it.
But when you said that, you said you got people behind the scenes like, yeah, I have that too. I got my brother-in-law. He got my Instagram started. He got my website started.
Mm-hmm.
He set up my email. He did all this stuff that I guess I could have done, right? I don't. There's not things out there I don't limit myself to that I can't do, right? But
Could he do it faster and
But
less
more-
time, more
but he-
more quality?
yeah,
Yeah,
easy.
see.
Right, I would have never. It would have taken me like for a website. I probably would have been like, yeah, I'll get to it. You know what I mean? Let me just start working. You know what I mean? Let me just start working. But he did the website. He got the email up. All this stuff that actually now super beneficial.
Oh man,
Just big time.
our behind the scenes guys is a social media guy.
Yep.
Helping out with chopping videos up
Yeah.
and keeping us, motivated. We all keeping each other motivated.
Yeah.
That's important. It's important to have that structured network people.
Yeah, I'll post a video up or a photo up, and he'll right away because he's always on there. He'll be like, no, not that one.
Mine does that too.
Nope.
Mine hit me one time. He's like, hey, so I seen the post. It's awesome. I cleaned it up, put new tags on it, and I was going to make that post at our given hour for algorithms that we do the best, but I'll make a new one. Yeah. Hey, great job. And I'm like, Roger, I'm tracking.
Yeah. I'll just stay out of your lane.
I fucked up, man.
Oh,
That's my bad.
See, but that's the problem. Me, I got my hands in everything.
Right.
And I want them in everything.
Sure.
Because my mind's never stopping. I'm like, I'm going to put this on there.
That's exactly how I feel. Like, this got to go on right now.
Right now, I got to do it.
I'll forget about it. Something won't happen.
But the thing is, I can't stop it. Right. And I drive people crazy for this reason right here. If I'm talking about it, that means that the decision's already been made.
Right.
It's coming.
If I'm bringing it up, because I'm such a, even though I'm I'm an extrovert in the sense that I love talking to people and things like that, but my mind's always running. And I've been thinking about things for weeks and months. So if I'm talking about it, because I'm bad at asking for advice and communicating in that aspect. When it, like, hey, I don't go like, hey, babe, what are you thinking about this? If I ask her that means that I'm getting ready to make the decision on it. And that's bad sometimes.
Work on that.
I'm somewhat like that as well.
Like, if I'm like, you like that truck? That means I probably already half bought it, right? Like, that's, and I
already done the paperwork.
Yeah, and I can't, like, just because but I've been thinking about it for, like, almost to the point of like borderline crazy on that one thing. But so I've already hit send on it. I'm just seeing your reaction first.
Yeah, just making sure
There's
it's
enough
not
time
catastrophic.
to pull the rope back.
The same way with starting this business. Like, it's something I had wanted to do for a long time, and I knew I wanted to do it. But it was, I sat there and, when's the right time? Right? Because I got this Marine Corps thing I'm doing. That's kind of a big deal, right? It kind of takes up a lot of time.
Right.
I got 4 children, 4 boys, 6, 4, 2, and 6 months old. So kind of busy there too.
After
a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you figure out where that comes from yet? Or?
What, the boys?
Yeah,
me. No. That's all me. I handled that.
Handled that business.
You willed it to be.
You made that decision as well.
Yeah. I think that's I don't know if that's whiskey or vodka that makes that decision, but
yeah, maybe.
Maybe. But my wife's got a full-time job too, so it's like we're a busy tribe. So for me to interject this business thing was not received like gracefully at first. Because
you're gonna do what?
And not that she was. I think my wife was worried about me too. Right? What was I going to do to myself? Because I'd been away for 2 years from home. My wife stayed put because I did a year in UAE as an advisor. Came back, did a year up in Virginia Beach as a basically advisor again, just kind of teaching and doing some engagements and stuff. And I'd come back and forth on the weekends. I'd come home, work there during the week, and drive 3.5 hours.
Just running yourself ragged.
Oh yeah, I did that for a year, and that broke. I mean, I'll be honest with you, mentally,
it's rough.
Oof.
Yeah.
And
you had kids during this?
Oh yeah, this was recently.
Yeah, that's hard, man.
This was recently.
And it's not just hard on you; it's hard on both of you. She's got to be here making sure she picks up the slack. And shout out for that, because that goes unnoticed a lot of times.
Yeah, but the thing about it too is you could call it survive. I think if the tables were reversed, I would be having a hard time just surviving.
100%.
Right.
But we're talking surviving, like just. I mean, the house wouldn't be clean. I know that, right? The clothes I'd be hiring people, right? Like, I'd be like, I know I don't got no money, but come clean my house and do my clothes.
I'll feed you.
Somebody come in here and help me. But my wife, she's a guidance counselor at a high school, and she didn't just did good stuff. You know what I mean? She does. She keeps it all the way up. You know what I mean? And so she was ready for me to come home and just be home. So I come home. And I hadn't been back since September. That's when I got back. And I made the decision 2 months later to start a business. So, but my wife, she's supportive. She's gonna let me know how she feel about it. She's not the meek person.
Lay it back and let it sit.
She ain't sitting back and hiding how she feels, which
That's good though.
I respect. Oh yeah.
Right.
You don't have to wonder how she feels about it. She ain't gonna be like, oh, yeah, and then be mad behind the scenes. She gonna let you know, and then it's done, right? You figure the rest of it out. But you know, I threw a lot on the table by doing that. But she's helped. You know, you got to have that too. For sure. You know, if you ain't got somebody there going, you know, she might not be the happiest about me gone all day, but she's gonna do everything that matters to support me. You know what I mean? The things that really matter. I don't need a lot of attaboys. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't get me going, right? But
I need you to cover down when I can't though, or if I'm doing this other thing.
Yeah, but she, you know, she kisses me out the door and enhances life while I'm, you know, trying to be out there build this thing.
Absolutely.
You know, that's more right. We get wrapped up on a lot of the visual kind of things, right? Like, you know, the good jobs and like I don't need her to reply to my posts on Instagram. You know what I mean? Those are fruitless, really. For a lot of the times, like nobody knows what she's doing. She ain't gonna post what she's doing. You know, she's bathing, cleaning, cooking. You know, all this stuff that I'm not doing because I'm out mowing 7 yards on a day. You know what I mean? But you know, it's important. So, you know,
the support structure is enormous, man. Huge.
And that's been like that through the Marine Corps, man. And, you know, your wife knows this. And what would you do if she was deployed? I know it. Idle hands are the devil's playground.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about like in that aspect, but you know,
in all aspects.
I mean, I'd probably drink myself, you know, to a stupor every night. You know what I mean?
People like you and me need oversight, bro.
Yeah, I really
From
do.
people that matter.
Yeah.
No, it's a fact.
It is.
Like even through there was no getting help for me until my wife mentioned something. There was no getting help with alcohol for me until my wife and father said, "Hey, your kids are gonna hate you, and it's because you won't slow down, and you got to get past this." And I know it's helping, and it's just a Band-Aid, but like it's hurting you, kind of thing, right? And so if you don't have those people once in a while to pull back on the reins and say, "Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one," then if your alpha full go personality gets into the wrong rut, that can be catastrophic.
Well, because if you know, I think to some degree, like my brain, it's going to try to be the best at whatever. Try to be doesn't mean I'm going to be, but I'm going to try to be, whether it's good or it's bad. You know what I mean?
Whatever you've chosen, you're going to go all the way on it.
My brain doesn't care about the morality of it.
Yeah.
Right, like I'm going to go and do it.
Hard.
Right. I got to make a very conscious effort to make it the right thing. And that's what I kind of got into. You know, this month was my 11 months sober.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Next month on the 16th will be 1 year for me. You know, and I thought that'd be the toughest thing I ever did. Right. But I mean, it has been to some degree.
Boom. You did it.
But it did it. You know, and I got 2 weeks here, you know, a month here, 2 months, 3 months. Then it started becoming just normal battle rhythm, not doing it. Right. And, you know, for me, it was kind of all or nothing. Yeah. It had to be that way. Yeah. Right. I didn't have the choice, you know, because I ruined it in some regard, like that relationship, you know, with a substance, really. And, you know, I had to say, all right, that's it. You know, we can't have this kind of, you know, on and off kind of thing. You know, it's got to be all or nothing. And I'd say really, you know, I don't know if it was fully the alcohol getting rid of it, like that itself, but just like showing myself you had the strength to do it. And I'm telling you what, it just has kind of taken off since then. Just this drive, you know what I mean? That's always, and I was kind of, you know, I think it was masking it to some degree. Yeah. You know?
I've seen a meme, and I'm not a big meme guy, but I've seen a meme that said, addiction kills ambition. Yeah. And that resonates with me, you know, because same thing. If I look at my life post Marja is when I picked alcohol up and started abusing that relationship, let's call it. And not that I got in trouble, not that I was hurting anybody physically or anything like that, but I was checked out. I was using it as a Band-Aid. It became too much. And, you know, anything, you can overdo anything. And I think, you know, I talk about alcohol on here. It's odd because there's a ton of different substances to cure things like anxiety and different different symptoms, let's say, of a tough deployment or a kinetic fight, or you lose somebody, or whatever the case may be. When it comes to war, there's different things, and alcohol is one of those number one medicine band-aids for the Marines, because it's what they can do. It's what they have access to. It's something they have access to that is normalized within the ranks, and sometimes can be preached that,
and encouraged.
Hey, just drink a little more. Hey, it'll help with this. It'll help with that. And until I stopped drinking, I bought into that, and I didn't realize how much precious time when my babies were small that I lost, or how much precious time with my wife that I'd lost, or the mistakes that I made whilst drinking. Just really, because it came to a point where I'm telling myself, that's not you. That's not your brand. That's not what you've spent your entire life working up to people to know you as this, and that's not it.
Well, because it wasn't you.
No.
It's, when you take it down to its base level, right, you're poisoning yourself, right? And it's you. It's a poison to you. It's kind of taken over, and it's just like anything else that you bring on into your life. It's something you repeatedly do. It becomes what you are. You know what I mean? And then for me, I was having an internal struggle where I knew I wanted to get rid of it, but I couldn't, having a hard time to do it.
It's build it in not only the chemical dependency, but routine.
Oh,
Marines are routine people, are out, at least my friends that are Marines are routine. And, if your routine is boom, boom, boom every day, and then you boom, boom, something's off, and then there's something's not right, and the routine can throw off the psyche for me.
Well, I mean, it was a normal rhythm for me to come home every day, have a few drinks, right? And those over the years, that kind of matured into something that I never thought would happen. It was so innocent at first. It was kind of cool, where I'd come home. I knew I had this bottle to come home to,
This fix.
This day kind of sucked a little bit. But I know when I get home, I just crack this open. I'll have a fun night at least. I'll deal with what tomorrow feels like. I did that for years. Drink, get a buzz, pass out. Most of the time, we're not even talking about falling asleep, but
Right.
let it take over. Get up and go hard. Right. Harder than you should, but living that kind of lifestyle. And then it just got to the point you can't do that forever.
Now tear your body to pieces.
Some people can, but they're not. It's not normal.
No.
We all know the guys.
Anomaly.
We've seen them.
Right. It's usually a gunny.
Yeah.
It's usually
Cliche.
a gunny. It looks like Clint Eastwood.
His skin's leather.
Yeah.
He's still smoking 3 packs a day.
That's exactly the guy.
And you're like, how are you not dead right
But
now?
he can run like a 17:43 miles still.
He tucks his Marlboro Reds in his socks to go run 3 miles.
So he can have one at the halfway point.
And he's still got time before 18 minutes hits.
That's exactly right.
But it got so much, man. I can feel my body starting to feel it too. You get to I'm 34 now, right? It's not old, but it's not.
It's old in dog years, dog.
Yeah, it's not young, especially for the lifestyle that I've lived, we've lived.
Yeah.
My wife said it the other day. Really, I was talking about my shoulders kind of hurting. She's like, "Well, you realize for 15 years,
You're crushing them.
I mean, you start to recollect on some of the things you've done.
Yeah.
And you because you don't, if you're to sit down right now, me or you and both of you, and just let's list everything that we've done.
I don't want to.
Yeah, people would read it and they would hurt.
Yeah, you couldn't even list everything.
No,
right?
man.
Because there's some field ops you don't know, you don't remember, but hikes and ruck
yeah.
runs and just.
I wasn't in as long as y'all two, so.
But I don't know.
It's part of it.
But if and then you were to go back and just hey, it would make you nervous. You're like, I need to get to the doctor tomorrow. Right? I need to get to the doctor tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
But she's like, you're not. She reminds me every once in a while. I'll be honest with you. The other was it? Yeah, yesterday I worked all day yesterday. Up at 7, on the job site at 8:15, 8:30, and we worked till the sun went down, clearing trees. Just me and my guy, just clearing, throwing logs, getting after it. And we don't take breaks. We're bad about it. I'm bad about it because he's kind of like me. He works.
Just go.
Mm-hmm. He's an infantry Marine, and he's a good one.
That's what you do.
He's a good one, not a good one. He's a great one. Mm-hmm. Like he's like the guy that everybody wants in their squad. You know what I mean? Like, hey, there's 2 artillery guns over on that knoll. Like, I need them gone so they can secure that. He's like, all right, I got it.
That guy.
Yeah,
I
got it.
That's the guy.
He just takes off, comes back. It's like, hey, they're done. They're like, all right, yeah, I thought I heard some stuff over there. Yeah, good job. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't even know how you did that right
like, I don't
there,
don't care. Probably did it some weird. I'll give you an example. So this type of guy is. We were on our last load of taking some debris out to the landfill yesterday. Mm-hmm. Get out there. My dump trailer's battery's dead. I got like 3,000 pounds of stuff in it. And I don't know if you've been to the top of the hill at the landfill, like in the real landfill where it's just, they're moving trash out of the way so you can pull in. It's nasty.
Yeah, good.
So we're in there. And I'm like, man, it's like one of those situations where I need my critical thinking head to come in, but I'm not. Right? I've already made a decision, like, just cover it up. I'll go charge it and we'll come back and I'll bring it back in the morning. He's like, oh, you don't want to do that. I was like, I don't want to do that. But what other options have I got?
Dude, pull the battery out of the hood of the truck and fucking throw it on the trailer.
He runs off, disappears, comes back with jumper cables. Just found some random worker in the landfill.
Message to Garcia.
Yeah. Brings back the cables, then finds another guy next to us who's has him jump the battery for me.
Nice.
Offload it, and I was like, that's why I need.
That's why I needed.
Well, and sometimes you need that person who's detached enough to be like, oh, bro.
Because
you concentrate on you, I'm going to make this happen.
Well, because I'm thinking the big picture already. I'm like, okay, well, crap. I got 7 other jobs in the lineup, right? Like, I just want to get back. I'll put this in the schedule somewhere.
Yeah.
But he's just thinking about right now.
Mission accomplishment.
Yeah, like right now. Like, let me get this guy. And, you know,
I call those CDMFs.
What's that?
That's a can-do motherfucker.
Yeah. And I need,
just doesn't matter what it is. They figure it out.
Yeah. I drove away like,
Yeah.
I hope this, I'm thinking, man, I hope this guy works for me for the rest of my life.
I need to get him out of the Marine Corps.
Yeah. But gosh, yeah.
Yeah, man.
The problem with it is that the service that Angie provides for me is people will go on there. Let's say you are. Let's say you get on there and you want your lawn something. I'm not just into lawn care. I do debris removal. I'll haul stuff. We do clean. Well, there's not a lot I don't do. If I can't do it, I'll find somebody that can.
Right.
Subcontract out to them. We'll figure it out. But
sure.
Well, when they hit enter to look for that service, I got to pay a lead fee, and Angie's figures out what that lead fee is by proximity.
Is it a percentage or?
No, it's a set fee, but that fee will change on like what the service is, the proximity of it. So anywhere from like $15 to like $40, right? But so many people, and it's frustrating. But this is how the game is. They'll hit go, and you call them up, right? And they'll be like, "Yeah, come out and do a quote." You go out there, you'll do a quote. And they'll be like, "Yeah, probably going to happen." So then you'll hit them back again, like, "No, you know what? My son-in-law is going to do it for me."
But you still paid the fee.
You got to pay the fee. But it all shakes out in the end sometimes. Because so let's say I don't land 10 of those jobs, and I had to pay $300 for lead fees. Then I land 2 jobs in a row that are worth $1,000, right? Like it all kind of shakes out.
Right.
The problem with it is though, is that some people, you just want to get mad at them. You know what I mean? 'Cause, you call them like, "Oh no, I don't know why that happened. I didn't mean to hit enter."
That was an accident, you said. Okay.
Yeah, all right. Hey, I appreciate that.
Hey,
cost
have
me
a good one.
Yeah, it cost me $40. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Gosh, like, oh man. So it's kind of a
Guess
blessing.
that keeps you motivated to keep your bids fair too, though, huh?
Yeah,
Maybe that's part of it.
Well, Angie's. That's the reason they kind of are built that way. They want competition, because you think about it, the way they're making their money is if all 3 of us are getting the same bid, they're getting 30. Let's say the lead fee's $30.
Yeah.
They're getting it from all 3 of us, but only one of us is winning the job. But they're getting paid either way. $90.
Smart.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I'll be honest with you, I've made a lot of money off of just getting those customers,
getting those leads, and then if you do a good job and you keep them, they're
that's
not
the goal.
looking for leads anymore.
That's the goal is to right. If I get a guy or a family or a woman calling me, a customer of any kind calling me to do a job, I'll say, and I can kind of tell if they're going to need service again. So that factors into the bid, right? You know, like, okay, all right, I know they're probably not going to want to pay $350 for this big seasonal cleanup, you know. But she did mention that she was looking for somebody to do bi-weekly, so maybe I'll chop that down 100.
Yep.
And pick her up and make the
right.
Make the 150
I'll
back.
upsell her for another service, or I'll upsell him for maybe he's looking for. I notice you don't got a fence up. Ask him about a fence. You know, it's like, oh, I've been looking to do that.
Yep.
We can do that for you. You know, I know you're not wanting to spend 150 on this. Maybe you may only spend 75, but you do want to spend 1,000 on a fence because people do. You know, but.
Or you take it and quantity has a quality all its own, and you get a bi-weekly and you charge them for that.
Yeah, there's just some customers, though, that they want a service done. They know how much it's going to cost. And they're going to do it.
Yep.
That's it.
They wouldn't have gotten with you if they didn't
They're
want
very
the service.
serious.
Yep.
And
I deal with that the same
I can
same
tell
exact
right
way.
away they're very detailed.
Yep.
They're very deliberate. And they want you to explain to them. As long as you can explain to them where the money is coming from.
Itemized, yep.
And that's how I do my quotes. I don't, you'll find a lot of contractors that'll say, let's say you want a fence built. They'll just put fence project, $3,000.
Yep.
You don't see
I don't.
what the labor.
I
is,
don't
the
do that.
materials and all that.
I itemize hourly labor out, any materials, each service, what that service is going to cost, the sales tax associated with it.
No questions at the end.
No question. Now there's always still questions sometimes.
No, I mean there's no questions as far
No,
as
where the money's going.
Yeah.
And I don't want there to be.
And that's what they want, though.
Yeah.
They want to know exactly what they're paying for.
Now it does give the customer an opportunity to kind of ask you why, right? But that's okay. That's they're the
this
one
is
paying the
what-
money.
Yeah.
If you're being honest, there's
Yeah.
no reason to.
And at the end of the day, too, if a person comes to me and says, "Listen, all right, that's a little bit outside my budget," I'll say, "Okay, well, what is your budget?"
Right.
Maybe I don't make as much money off of it, but let's see what we can do. I had a guy call me last week. He's got he lives in a small house out right, not too far out. I do a ton of work out here, and I like doing work out here because the landfill's right here. The earth and stone place is right here.
Yep.
Like it's all easy for me to make things happen. But he said, listen, he wanted a ton of stuff cleared out around his trailer, and he said everybody he's called out has just looked at it and never called him back. And I know why.
Bad time.
Well, it's a lot of labor, and these guys, they're going to charge him $1,500, $2,000. And that ain't even going to be worth it, to be honest with you, for the time it's going to take. It's an all-day job, even if you got the right equipment. So these guys aren't going to do that because in the 9 hours they're going to spend out there, they go make the same amount of money just mowing yards
Twice.
And easy labor, right? Like, so they're not going to. So I went home and I was talking to my wife about it, and I told the guy. He said, I can't. He said, I know I want it. He said, I really want it done, but I live off Social Security. I can't. He said, I'd really only be able to pay you $500 at a time. And I said, oh, well, and really the job, what I probably should have quoted him about $1,500 if I were to really line it out. But I charge him like $750. But I told him, I said, hey, you can pay me when you can. You know what I mean? You pay me. I'll invoice. What I'll do basically is I'll invoice you 2 separate months, split it in half, and invoice you for the same job. I'll do the job one time, but he's like, "Oh man, I appreciate that." But I do that, and I think already like, "Oh man, this is gonna be a terrible Saturday."
Yeah.
Because a lot of jobs, if you're doing them, you're gonna make a lot of money. It's okay, you kind of get yourself through it. This sucks, but I'm gonna get through it because then I'm gonna see it. But this one ain't gonna be that way. It's gonna be a lot of work, but
Sometimes those go a long way.
yeah, it makes you, I like it.
Yeah.
Right, because at the end of the day, this is a bit of therapy for me too.
Yeah. And you're helping somebody.
Yeah, I mean, what else? Like, what else is I'm not going to be rich anyway off this.
Yeah.
Nor would I.
What's rich?
Yeah, right. What is it? Money.
Money.
How much do you need?
Yeah.
Right. My kids seem to be doing pretty well.
Yeah.
They ate a good meal tonight before I came over here. You know,
They
like
got somewhere warm to sleep.
Yeah. I was, it's funny. I was walking with my kids today, and my son will say something. He said to me, he's like, "Oh, you asked me what we're having for dinner." I said, "Oh, we're having pasta and sauce." He's like, "Oh, I don't like that." I was like, and I do this, and they probably hate it. I'll be like, there's some kids that don't even have a place to eat dinner at.
Same thing.
Right. I do the same
And he's
thing,
like,
too.
"Well, what happens if it rains?" And I was like, "Exactly. What does happen? They get wet." I said, "They don't even have." Some kids go 3-4 days without eating. He's like, "They're like, why? Who doesn't feed them?" You know, but you think about
They
that.
don't even know.
Makes me kind of want to inflict a little friction in my kids' life sometime.
Yeah, a little
A
adversity.
little artificial and friction. Just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not there. Because I grew up with a little bit of friction, financially in my life. My parents worked hard, but they had no money. Lights got turned off every now and then. Water got turned off every now and then. You saw it. As you got older, you saw it. And you saw the stress it induced
Yeah.
naturally.
How much of an appreciation does that make you have for your parents, though, now?
Oh, a lot.
Like, have you ever called them and just said thank you?
Yeah, I have. I
Yeah,
don't do it
man.
enough, though.
No, I'm not saying I do it a lot,
No,
but I've definitely found a couple of times in my life where just life is beating the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And I got new babies and I'm drowning. You
Yeah.
know, I'm at that point in treading water where you're just starting to go under
Yeah.
because you just don't have it
Yeah.
anymore. And you're looking up through about 4 inches of clear
Yeah.
water and you're
Yeah.
thinking, what is going on? And I'd call my parents and just like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because I would not be able to make this if you didn't, do what you did, do your part. Because there's a lot of kids that are going out without food. They're going without like their. We talked to my brother about
Yep.
it. There's a lot
I was
of
just
people
thinking
that don't have their hierarchy of needs,
Yeah.
and so when a kid doesn't have food and shelter, God, the rest of his days kind of his one track around what food and shelter can I get, and
Yeah.
how
could he think about anything else?
how could you think about anything else? You can't.
Would you expect him to get good grades or care about homework when when he's
And then what's home like?
yeah?
Is there homework, or
Well,
is there like a lot of these kids?
I
It's
get
rough.
to see or hear about it. Right, I don't see it. My wife deals with a lot of things that are mentally and emotionally. I'd say emotionally more than anything.
As a guidance counselor,
yeah. And a lot of it, these things are going on right around here in Onslow County. You know that.
Just don't see and hear
Well, you don't, and how could you if you don't? If you're not
in it.
in tune with it. But you hear what kids have to go through, what their home life's like. She don't talk a lot about it, but I'll hear a story every now and then. It's just like, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Well, of course not. Why would this person care about graduating high school?
Yeah.
His mom hadn't seen his mom in 7 days. They're getting beat by the stepdad. There's drugs involved, and this and that. And like, yeah, of course not.
Yeah. How could?
What would you expect? I mean, it's hard enough to get a kid who's got everything given to him, like my kids or your kids, right? Who wake up every day and they're just thinking about what the next cartoon they're going to watch, or if they're going to have Fruit Loops, or what Cheerios.
And then some days that becomes boring, and they're bored, and they don't want to do anything.
Not bad, right? They're fortunate to have.
Fortunate, yeah, and I think you're doing the right thing though to check that.
Yeah.
I do the same thing. I know he does. I mean, just this week I had my kids in the drive-through. We're picking them up something to go, some bag, McDonald's lunch or something.
Absolutely.
And my daughter makes a comment. She's 9. And I was mad, man. She made a comment like, why haven't they given us the food yet?
Oh, yeah.
And I rolled my window up because the drive-through window was still open. I'm like, they don't need to hear what this is, what's about to go down.
I don't
It's
want
like,
spit on my sandwich.
and it's like, first of all, your dad and your mom are paying $7 for you to have a Happy Meal. Okay, it comes from a cow. Somebody, somewhere in the United States, butchered a cow, pattied it, traveled it under a refrigerator truck probably across the nation to a dispersal point for McDonald's beef, at which point it was then again taken down all in time to not spoil and to get to you. And then from the time that we ordered it at that speaker back there to right now has been 4.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Why don't you just sit back there and be quiet?
Yeah.
Because there's little kids that haven't eaten since yesterday and they don't know if they'll eat today. And you're being ungrateful. I know that you're, by your blessings, that this is a innate thing. And I try to tell them that. Like, I try to tell them exactly, I understand this, but you need to understand that while you're waiting 4.5 minutes for a cheeseburger, there's little kids that are half your age that haven't eaten in 2 days.
Yeah.
And they have the same response, your kids did. Why?
Yeah, well, yeah.
What's wrong with their mommies and daddies?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're strung out on drugs or don't exist.
Yeah.
Or
You know?
just born
Yeah.
and live in the wrong place.
Or hard. They're just but money and the way of the world, and it's just rough.
Yeah,
you
or
know?
they're or they're great people who just can't afford it, right? Like that's just
Exactly.
Bad spot.
Yeah, they're just in a it's interesting to think obstacles are everything in life because we only have a certain amount of time to do this,
For sure.
to do what we think is normal in life, right? You get a job, you get a family, you try to attain as much of whatever it is you think is important before you die, right? And we don't know when that time is. It could be tomorrow, it could be you're 90, right? But obstacles are everything to get to that spot
Yeah.
that you're looking for.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have any obstacles, because they're cleared out of the way by somebody, either where they're born, right? The money they're born into, the family they're born into. Don't even necessarily have to be money. Maybe you have an awesome extended family that clears these obstacles for you as you're moving through life. Some people don't.
Yeah.
Some people they're getting these obstacles stacked in front of them. They may have a ton of work ethic. They may have a ton of drive. They're just, how are you expecting to clear these obstacles?
Shitty hand, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's you think about it in a place like this in America, you'd think that there wouldn't be a ton of obstacles in front of people, but I meet them all the time, especially in the Marine Corps. We've all kind of ended up at the same place. But you hear the obstacles that people have to go through to even get. Me growing up, I consider myself lucky. We had some obstacles, but I had my parents there clearing them out of the way for me constantly. My kids right now, they don't really have many, fortunately. I'm even trying to find ways to put some in.
Yeah,
Right, just so they don't. Right, I say no a lot for no reason to create some friction in their life. You know what I mean? Because they can't hear yes all the time.
Right.
Me and my wife are the same mind. We don't try not to create. I don't say spoils is not the right word. Just ungrateful people.
Ungrateful. Yeah.
Drives me. An ungrateful person drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And I hope anytime I've ever been ungrateful, I hope it's went checked or somebody's checked it. I can't think of a time in my adult life maybe, but as a kid, I would imagine. But I think as a human, you have to be able to identify that some people go through a ton of obstacles.
Yep.
And you gotta.
I think everybody goes through obstacles.
Sure.
But there's tons of different obstacles.
Yeah.
And some obstacles are bigger, stronger, harder than other obstacles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I try to tell people, like, one of my mottos is be nice.
Sure.
Just be nice.
Yeah.
Because, and it kind of speaks a little bit to that, and the fact that it's like everybody has things in life that are just beating the shit out of them, whether it's old memories or old thoughts or the fact that they feel like they're not reaching their full potential. It could be a myriad of different things that are beating somebody up, and like statistically, like 80% of all people are going to go through depressive events and these psychological events and these losses that really rock them in life. And knowing that most people are either in the process of experiencing these things or are coming up or coming out of these things is how you could look at it, because it's coming. Just be nice to each other, because just being nice, just having a nice word to say, or giving the proper greeting of the day, or saying something nice to a stranger at the window or at the shopping mall, those little things, those little tiny pieces of hope in my mind that you're instilling into somebody else's life with nothing asked in return, nothing required in return, just nice. And that can change lives. It can change the world. And so I try to drive a lot of people and talk about that. You got to be nice to each other. Everybody's going through shit.
Yeah.
It's hard. Like the whole process of experience of life is hard. It doesn't matter where you started, in my opinion. There's going to be hard times.
Yeah.
And another thing to go to the kids, try to tell the kids, like, you are going to lose in life far more than you ever win. You're going to miss more shots than you make. You're going to drop more passes than you catch. You're going to hurt in those times. And life's really about understanding the loss and growing from the loss. That way tomorrow, I'm not hitting that same wall that I hit. And then it gets a little better. And then you start to mature and start to see how you can shape your shot around you, how you can shape your life. And that's important.
I always thought, something that always scared me, or I'm fearful of still, is, you start somewhere, right, and you do this, you get really good, and then you flare out, right, in life, and you kind of just fizzle out, right? It's always been like something I'm in fear of, is not getting better. You should, I don't ever want to, hit my climax somewhere and then just
Everything down from there.
Yeah, that I don't like that. When somebody says, "Oh, it's all downhill." No, not for me. Not me. I don't want there's no down.
Too much I haven't done.
Yeah. No, let's get after it. So, what else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peterson makes that note a lot. Says you only really have a good 60, 65 years on this planet to really get your shit together. And that's if it's not cut short, and that's if you start on time. And most of us don't start on time because we're young and dumb and full of energy and, whatever. But he's big on that, and it's true. It's like you really have from your mid-20s, 25 and on to really hone, and you got about 40 years, man, to make your difference. 40 years to make your impact. And that's wild to think about.
Yeah. Well, I'm 34. I feel like I kind of started to get my shit together.
Me too. I'm 35, and I'm like, I'm a little bit.
Like a little bit. Right? Like just a little bit.
Right.
And I've already got a family, right? Like that's...
Did that backwards. Me too. Me too.
Wow.
Do you still feel like, why did they let you go home with your children when you left the hospital?
Maybe it's only because my wife was there with me.
Probably, yeah.
That's it. They were definitely not worried about her.
Yeah.
If she probably had to sign something like
he'll be okay with him.
All right. He's okay.
He's my responsibility. I
Like
swear.
a dad waiver.
Like, how would you rate your husband's ability? What are you talking about? Like
He can fight wars.
To kill people, or
what does he do for a living? I don't even really know. But
no, we're not answering that question.
It's funny. It's funny you say that. When we lived on base for a couple of years, and my neighbors around me, they never saw me.
Yeah.
Because I was always gone.
Yeah.
Always in the field all the time, at a school, whatever. And when I wasn't there one time, the neighbor came over and she was talking to my wife. She said, "What's your husband do for a living?" Like what does he do in the Marine Corps? And she was like, "Oh, my wife's always been very vague."
Yeah.
Because I would never even really talk to her a lot about what I do, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was a need. And the second thing, it's pretty hard to explain.
It is.
Like, hey, what'd you do this week? Well, how do I start this off? Showed up in the Army at 3:30, right? We left at 11.
What did you do that whole time?
I don't know.
Drink coffee.
Yeah, try not to get yelled at by my first sergeant, and everybody else. That's what I was trying not to do. And then I was at SR6 for 6 days, where we did day and night live fire movement, either rehearsals or live fire, right? And I got ate by mosquitoes all night long. Then we hiked back, and and a ton of shit happened in between then.
Yeah.
That you would not ever understand.
Right.
Like about halfway through that, whatever.
Yeah,
okay,
whatever.
So you had a good week, or
so? No, I'm just ready to be here. Yeah, that's it.
And
super
when it was all
excited to
said
get
and
back
done,
home. And
I actually had a blast while I was
Yeah,
out there, but
Oh God. Where was I going with that?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. You got to get me back on track.
Yeah, we can just go to the next.
there's
thing.
no track. It just goes wherever we want it to
Yeah, I
go.
know.
That's the best
Track.
part about this.
Yeah.
That's right. It was your neighbor's wife
she
wondered
said,
what you did.
He's only here. Like he's gone for a long time. Then we just see him drinking. Like I'll be outside grilling, and then drinking. And like the thing is, I was like, "Who is that?" She's like, "Oh, she said she's talked to you before." It's like, "Oh,
Sweet.
okay,
Great.
cool," because I don't remember that.
Yeah, no clue.
Yeah, I have
Which
no
house?
idea. Yeah, which house is it? Yeah, wow, we got neighbors.
Sweet.
Wow, okay. Well, I'll see you in a week.
Yeah.
By the way, what address are we? Because I need to get home when I get out of the field.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Me and my wife have been married for 11 years. We tried to like calculate it at one point, like how long have we really spent together?
Like 4 years.
Maybe, So we really don't even know each other. Like
Just two strangers
just
roommating up, raising kids.
I'm just the guy who like comes around every once in a while.
With enough trust to let her be at the house.
And just enough trust to like do some chores.
Yeah.
You're right. She's like,
Not fully take care of the children.
no, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
When you do that, it pisses me off because I have a certain way I do it because you're never here, and then you're fucking up my system.
You're really. I do things still, right? And she's like, "What are you doing?" Like, I don't know.
I'm trying to help.
Now that you said that,
You're way better at it.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing now. I thought I did till you said that. When you asked me,
Thought I was right all the way up until you told me I was wrong.
yeah, but it's crazy. I'll say, hey, I fed because I take 3 of my kids to daycare every morning on the way to work. My wife takes my other one to kindergarten. So, you should see me in the morning getting 3 kids, 6-month-old, a 2-year-old, and a 4-year-old ready every morning to go to school.
I get it.
I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been one morning where I've left the house since this is, August or September timeframe that I've felt like it went well.
You know what? Welcome to podcasting. You can do it.
I've dropped my kids off every morning, and it's been like, wow, that was terrible.
Wow. I need to do that better tomorrow.
Wow. And I know that it's not going to happen because I don't. Yeah, I can look at any Marine Corps system for the most part, right? And it's like, okay, I could probably find a way to do that better. Have not found a way to do this better because I'm dealing with people that I cannot.
Well, they don't know anything.
No,
You can't debrief them.
You can't. I can't like show them a good. Hey, I can't get them around a sand table.
Yeah.
Like, all right, tomorrow, check us out. All right, condition set. All right, we're gonna step off. All right, condition set. All right, you have your shoes on. You have your shoes on. I have all my bag. Right, it's condition set. All right. No, that doesn't happen. We can't. I can't give
Is
them
it
an order.
that we just don't get conditions set to move?
No, we just. The thing is, it's like
No shoes?
it's just nothing's ever the same every morning. Like it's just you're dealing with such an ever changing like situation.
Little beast. And multiple of them.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. So like, but my wife when she does it, I'm telling you, it's seamless.
Just happens.
I've gotten up before. This is before about a year ago or so when I would come back and maybe I was helping her get them ready. I would make her later if I got up and helped her.
Yep.
And she like would be nice and like let me help her, and then after a while she'd be like, I don't need you to help me.
Yeah, you just go back to bed.
Like
or
you,
get some
it's
coffee.
like addition by subtraction. If you don't, just if you sleep,
You are the point of diminishing
you
return in this situation.
I'm over here like trying to like help out. She's like, "What are you doing?"
That's not how we do it.
That's not.
And is there something like she have a certain routine that the kids already know?
Oh yeah.
And then you are like throwing wrenches in the routine,
yeah.
maybe? Because I do that.
I think too, though, it's just like her brain. Like my wife's way more disciplined than me. Way more.
Generally good thing, I guess.
But I'm not talking like night and day. You know what I mean? Night and day. Just can just do the same thing every day at the same time, just because it needs to be done, and that's it. Doesn't need some, crazy goal in mind. Just has to be done.
Yeah.
Me, you're gonna have to hang something in front of my nose.
Yeah.
A gold carrot, something. If I don't see the importance in it, probably not happening.
Yeah, it's like dressing them. I have a problem dressing them because like my little one comes out in what she wants to wear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't like it. And then, she's 6.
Yeah.
You're
In
wrong.
her head, she's not 6. And
Probably
she's
like
like,
26.
this is what I want to, like, and she's not rude about it. She's like, this is what I want to wear, Daddy. It's what makes me feel good. And I'm like,
That's true.
and her mom's like, Jane, go change your clothes. And I just don't have the heart. I don't have the heart.
Now
I'll let them go to school like that.
yeah.
All gummed up.
Right, like my wife, picking battles. Like me, I'm not gonna die on that hill. You know what I mean? Like that's just not a hill I'm dying on today.
It's no big deal.
No big deal. My wife would be like, "What were they wearing?"
Exactly what I
don't
get.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What they put on.
But she she's
Serious
battling
about it.
that. Right, it's something that's serious to her, and she's not gonna let that slide. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I'm fortunate enough. If I had somebody that was more or less disciplined than me, I don't even know how.
Oh, my kids would be Lord of the Flies.
Oh, me too.
100%.
I've
They'd be wild.
I've been left home alone with my kids a few times.
How long? Like a week?
No, never overnight.
Is it not terrifying?
No, never overnight. I've never. That's
Bro,
crazy.
my wife went to Vegas a couple years ago, and I called my mother, and she flew in and helped me take care of my kid. And I'm not bad. I don't want to say I'm bad. I'm a good dad. But there's certain things that I don't have.
No,
I understand I don't have them.
I would. I'll be honest with you. If you'd asked me, maybe one or two nights, maybe one night or 2 nights would be pretty.
You could get it.
I get it. But after a while, they would stay up and watch TV. I would just let them fall asleep wherever they sat.
You play the yes game.
Yeah, I would just.
Like, Dad, can I do this?
Yeah. Are you going to be quiet if you do it, though?
Yep.
Then
I got
that's
little work.
good. Okay. You know what? I'll be like, let's put an air mattress in the living room. You guys can watch TV. You can fall asleep there.
Popcorn? Yep.
Yeah. No, you can eat it in the living room. Just don't,
On the bed.
Put the tent up. We're camping in the living room. This is going awesome.
But here's the thing: just be quiet, right? Like, just don't ask me a ton of questions.
Just don't
right?
come talk to me.
Because I want to. I want to go out in the garage and like replace the blades on the lawnmower. And if you don't talk, I can do it a lot better.
Yep.
You know, like that's terrible to say, but that's where
like when you have multiples, it's like when the one comes out and has like one question, you got 37 questions behind it.
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah, well, you gotta pick your battles, like you said.
Yeah, and I don't pick a lot of them.
Right, I just let them win a lot of the times. I get yelled at for it.
Oh yeah,
and then that's the battle. Like, why did you just?
Yeah.
The wife comes home, air mattress is like half deflated. It's got a whole bowl of popcorn kernels laying in the middle of it, socks and ass and shoes everywhere. And
yeah.
What happened? They just had a movie night.
Did you tell them they could eat ice cream when they got home and watch, the Avengers? Like
Ice cream.
yeah.
I'm like, who told you that? Like, yeah, I did actually.
I did that.
Yeah,
I did all that. Well,
Is
all of it.
Does that go against what you wanted? It goes against everything that I wanted. They have to be up at 6 in the morning, and you said they could eat ice cream and watch Avengers. Oh yeah, my bad. Did I fuck something up?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. Appreciate it.
You realize how much you fucked up when they go, okay, that's fine. You're taking them to school tomorrow. And 6 comes and you're like, bad times.
I don't. Yeah.
It's actually a leadership issue because you weren't left a 5-paragraph order or given it a brief. Okay.
Yeah, I know. No, I don't want that because then that's a
Then you're
document that can be reviewed later.
100%. But they'll snitch on you to mom. I've learned
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Straight
They
up.
might not snitch to nobody else.
Yeah.
Snitching's a bad thing. They know that in this household. If mom comes in and says, who said you could do this?
It's me. I hear
Dimes,
my name,
bro.
I hear my name constantly.
Like your real name.
But I won't even say nothing. They'll just assume that I would have let them.
Marcus said we were good.
You know Marcus, that guy that's been here
Rains?
for a couple months.
Yeah.
Is he our dad, by the way?
You kind of look like him, and I was just wondering. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure.
And I hear he refers to you a lot. But anyway, yeah. Yeah. I
Refers or defers.
yeah.
Ask your mother.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I'm teaching my 6-year-old how to read right now. You know, you don't really think about these things ever in your life, like teaching somebody to read. Mm-hmm. You just kind of, I don't know, think it happens. I think the school teacher does it.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what you send them there for. But, you know, we practice with them at night. We read a little book. I mean, sometimes we don't get all the way through it because I don't have the patience for it. That's bad on me. But God,
Tough, man.
But, you know, try to hear yourself teaching somebody to read. You realize you don't know how to.
It's like, babe, I don't know why they put that letter there. It's pesky.
I just point at words and go, "Can read that?" You know, like sound it out. And I'm like, you know, what else do you do to, you know,
sound that out.
Yeah.
She.
Yeah, you're just like, oh my gosh, are we done? No, he's read one page. How many are we reading? God, it took 30 minutes to read one. Oh man.
In the middle of it was a picture. Yeah, man. Yeah, but I'll tell you what's gratifying is when they do start to do it. Like, because like that's an ass pain all the way through until like next year she's like, then the little rabbit hopped down the hole and you're like, yes!
Yeah.
You!
I feel that way about my son riding a bike.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, with no training wheels.
Oh, yeah.
He was real nervous, you know, and he saw his buddy across the street doing it, just ripping.
Yeah.
And he finally was like, all right, kind of let's go. And
If he can
the
do it, I can
first
do it.
day that he got on it and was started riding, he took a nasty, even something that would hurt me. Mm-hmm. You know, just hurt the big. He got nervous about going in between two obstacles and started looking at them, right, instead of focusing on the
Got a little squirrely.
path, and hit one of them directly. And it stopped the bike, and his collarbone went right into the handlebars and just all the momentum stopped, converged on that handlebar. So it just, and I was even like, oh boy, that's not going to be
You're
good.
okay. You're okay. Are
And
you
I was
okay?
like, I was thinking hospital because
Oh,
of the
really?
way it
That
hit.
bad?
Yeah.
Oh,
And he was
shit.
like, I am not. That ain't happening again. And I was thinking, well, he might not because that was pretty bad, you know. But man, he got, you know, when I saw him like really riding, I was like, man, yeah. Yes. And it was nothing that I didn't teach him anything. It was all like his human
Instinct,
intuition.
learned experience.
Yeah. You know, that's what's awesome.
Yeah, it
seeing him
is.
do just normal human things that, you know, I sometimes we sit in my living room and my kids are that age now where, you know, before then, me and my wife were married for 5 years. We had kids, so you kind of have this. You just have this life, and then you bring these kids into. I'll sit back and like they'll be just getting snacks from the pantry, coming to sit down, like doing like normal human thing.
Just like a little
Who are these people?
little humans that are learning.
Who are these people in my house? Just getting my stuff whenever they want. Just peeing in my toilet. Well, not in my toilet. Somewhere,
around
obviously.
somewhere. Now I you know I can't blame it on, you know, I don't have to take responsibility for it, you know.
You can actually,
Yeah, just let
with
it.
goodness in your
Yeah.
heart, blame other people.
Yeah. But
And you can piss a little on the rim and
I
be
don't,
like,
I don't have to be as
okay.
thoughtful about what I'm doing. Right? And it's okay. But yeah, it's probably like, man, you ain't gonna ask nothing.
Just
Just gonna
tear it
go
up.
get it.
Tear it up,
Just
go.
gonna go get it.
oh, and be mad at you when it's not in there.
Yeah.
Daddy!
There's no more popcorn. Like, okay.
You got some money? You want me
Yeah.
to go get you some?
And they'll be like, yeah, I do got money.
On your card. Well, my girls know what plastic is. I'm like, I don't have any cash. They're like, Daddy, you have your card. Thanks.
Yeah.
Wife.
Yeah.
Love you,
Yeah,
babe.
yeah.
Just kidding. No, I love it, dude. It is. I'm going to tell you what, it's the next to leading Marines, probably in front of leading Marines, but it's real close second leading Marines.
Yeah.
It's just that family, man, having those,
Yeah.
having them, the joy that they bring. And it is hard. And I think that's why it's so gratifying, too, because it is so hard.
Yeah.
Because if nothing was hard, nothing would be gratifying.
Oh, you know, that's me having kids when it was just me and my wife, I think, right. She was a concern when I made decisions, right. But I know she's a grown up, right. You know, if I needed to go, if I wanted to stay in and do something longer, she's grown up. She can handle it, right. She has her own thoughts, her own, right. But your kids, man, you just, you know, you don't ever want to miss anything, right. You miss your wife in a different way, right. You know she'll be fine. But my kids, you know, you can't get that time back, and you know you're missing everything right now. You're missing something, some step, some goal, and that's really what's kind of shaped my thought in the Marine Corps now. Here's my family, but in a positive way. I'm definitely a better Marine with a family because of them.
Well, you have empathy and compassion that you didn't have before.
Oh, 100%. I'm not the same.
So the last time we were together, we've both come a long way since then, and that would just go without saying. Kids, family, responsibility, a decade of stuff.
Yeah.
And it changes you. It does for sure.
And it's changed me. You know, I used to think I'd stay in the Marine Corps to the end of time. And it was the most important thing in my life. And I thought that was serious. Like, I thought that was it. Like, I would have done anything. And that's not the case anymore. You know, the Marine Corps is important, but it has its place now.
Yeah.
I've given it like a shelf. Where before it was just like my entire existence. But now I've found its own little.
You know, part of that would, you know, say what you want, but the guys like that are the guys that excel. When you can stay in that vein and that whole thing is your existence, you can live that and you can be great.
Yeah.
And there's guys that somehow do it with kids too. It wasn't, you know, I never had to.
Yeah.
You know, fortunate that, you know, whatever, blessed I wasn't in that situation, but didn't have kids until I was non-deployable, really in a non-deployable unit kind of thing. But yeah, it's huge, man, and they're great. I love them. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think, you know, you got to, I don't know how, I think about, I don't know how I would deploy to a combat zone right now, to be honest with you. It'd be hard. I'd have to do it because of the nature of my job. And
You would do it.
I'd do it. But God, it would be so different. You know, when I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, I didn't have anybody. I wasn't married. You know, I didn't have
Living for
anybody.
you.
Yeah. And I was doing things that not, not safe. The nature of it safe, but really going out on an extra limb, for some things, And the scary part about it is, I hope I'd have this. I don't know. I'd be more thoughtful about what I was doing. That's for sure.
That's why it's a young man's game to be a lance corporal, and lance corporals aren't staff sergeants.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something, absolutely. But I know you, and I know the warfighter you are.
Yeah.
When you are put in a situation where it's like time to lace up, you got to flip it, and you know how to do that.
Yeah,
it's not that it won't be harder. It will be harder, and you will miss stuff.
Yeah.
But like the alternative is that your head's not in the right place and you never see them again.
But
so you can weigh it.
Everything's so much more thoughtful now.
Yep.
It just has to be deliberate, right? You have to make like very conscious decisions. Like, okay, now I'm there, right? I can't think about it, right? As when I was younger, I just went.
Yeah.
I just sent it.
Yeah. Well, if you're one of those younger guys, get there, immerse yourself in it, and be in it, and do it all the way. Because you will have a day that you slow down. There will be a day that things change. And, yeah, man. So talk to me a little bit. You're now over at the School of Infantry at Gain, right?
Permanent personnel this time.
Yeah.
Which, God, I used to kind of, I never would have thought, I really wanted to go back in as an instructor capacity. But I was up at Marine Corps Security Cooperations Group up in Virginia Beach as a staff NCOIC of regional engagement section, so for AFRICOM.
What's that mean to
so,
layman?
Layman terms. So that unit had 3 separate branches associated with it. It had a training branch, an engagements branch, and an assessments branch. And what they do is we were combatant command aligned, right, for like a region, so we were associated with AFRICOM. So we'd go in and do engagements with countries and, just keep these avenues of communication open with them for follow-on stuff. You know what I mean? They got deactivated. The Marine Corps was on a deactivation list, got deactivated. I was only there a year, and I needed a place to go. I wanted to get back with my family. That was kind of the first things first. It kind of showed, Marine Corps is on a shelf here. Younger man, I'd have been like,
where you want me?
Where you want me? Put me anywhere you want me. So I reached out to Justin Aiken. He's a master guns. He's just an awesome dude. Used to be 2nd Marine Division's op chief. Got asked to stay in longer to head up, really kind of get IMC off the ground. And I gave him a call and said, "Hey, you got a job for me down there?" And he said, "Yeah." He made a job basically. SOI didn't have an assistant ops chief. It was just kind of an internal rotation billet for combat soldiers to kind of come take a knee. But he said, I've been wanting to do this thing where we create a 0369 billet up here for a gunny to come be an assistant ops chief to really run current operations. If you were to label it like that, the master gun's running future ops. I'm running current ops. He's way in the future, talking big IMC stuff, big far out stuff, and I'm dealing with just the painful stuff, but I like it. And so we did. He moved a few things around. He's been in 31 years. You don't see that a lot. He's retiring this year though. But I've enjoyed every minute of it. I really have. It's the first time that I've been in a job where it's like a normal job. I don't know if that makes sense. Like in the Marine Corps, I spent my first 7.5, 8 years in the fleet deploying back to back. Then I was an instructor for 3 years after that, which is, it is what it is.
It's a deployment for 3 years.
God, I was busy, yeah. And then I went back to the fleet right after that and deployed again as a platoon sergeant. Did some company gunny time, weapons company ops chief time. Then deployed again for a year to UAE.
What'd you do in UAE?
I was a part of a 32-man team. And we were just split up. I lived by myself on the Oman border in an apartment, and I was an advisor.
To who?
To the Presidential Guard out there.
Okay.
So we just aligned with different units out there. And it was interesting. I advised their infantry school out there. That's where they had it, and that's what I did. Not just them, though we focused on a little bit broader than that as well. And I'm gonna tell you something. It is the most independent duty the Marine Corps has ever
Had you on?
or had anybody. I mean, my boss worked 2.5 hours away and I never saw him.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. I mean, I didn't see a Marine ever. You know, I lived in an apartment, woke up every day, and because you're part of the Department of State while you're out there.
Yeah.
You're DOD, but you're working through the Department of State. So the embassy controls you.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Why is that not a civilian?
It is. So they do have civilian stuff, but the PG, they like the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
They work the deal out, and they want what we got.
Gotcha.
We got a good brand.
Yeah, man.
The Marine Corps does.
The best.
And so they wanted it, and that's what they wanted. They made that clear.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's an FMS case.
Mm-hmm.
They get signed off by Senate. It's part of a military sales case, and they pay a lot of money to have those guys out there.
I'm sure.
So
They take the training serious?
enough, I think.
Yeah.
I think for what they need to. I tell you what, you're dealing with different cultures.
No, yeah.
It just is what it is. They have a beautiful culture out there, and the one thing I had to learn real quick is you can't take this Marine Corps ethos. The ethos you can kind of try to bring in, but you can't take this American culture and try to slam it home into this environment. It ain't gonna take.
Yeah.
You gotta realize, like, if I were to show up, let's say I showed up at a Marine Corps training event, and I was a Navy SEAL, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're taking everything I got to say to heart, probably, right? Like, hey, I think you should go left instead of right. You're taking that Navy SEAL's advice and going, yeah, okay, let's go right. So there, you don't just have clout. You could spit off your resume. They don't care, right? Which they got to get to know you. You got to build trust, and that may take years. And that's why the advisor role is so important, because you're going to hand it off to somebody, and you may not even built that trust yet. He may take it another inch. You may take it another inch. Then maybe some guy 5 years from now gets one thing to say, and they take it on board. And it's not usual for Marines, What I had to get over was I thought coming in that I was going to have some clout, look at all this stuff I've done. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't mean nothing to them.
Yeah.
Who are you? You're going to take a while. You know what I mean? And interesting. It was a fun job. It was so odd, though. You're completely outside of your comfort zone.
I would not be comfortable without Marines, I think.
You're just by yourself.
Yeah.
You're having to, you create your own thing.
Battle rhythm
with
them and everything. Yeah.
Everything. I mean, you could.
Yeah, but I would assume that trust is built with constant interaction, constant training.
That's why it's so important with good continuity of Marines out there.
Yeah.
You get one bad apple in the middle of it.
Fuck everything up, yeah.
Right, shot. You're not recovering from it almost. So the selection of those guys was starting to get a little more intense, because that was being identified. Like, okay, you just can't send anybody out here. You got to find a guy who's meets kind of these pretty basic requirements, and then here's some select things that maybe you need to think about.
Would be really awesome.
Yeah, if you send him out here, and and a lot of things has to do with are these guys going to be good people? And because that's super important, just like you were talking about.
I think that's another reason why we're kind of going into this new experiment in the infantry with having more experience, more time served, more situations, and then pushing that down to the lower levels, right?
Yeah, I think from the Marine Corps standpoint, one thing they want more than anything is they want a more mature product hitting the fleet. It's not possible, though, when it comes to more mature. Because you got to understand, the one thing that runs the Marine Corps is manpower, and that's it. You could have the best idea you want. It's got to be filtered through manpower first. Can we do that and still meet our goals for manpower? If not, then it's not ever going to work. So there's a lot of ideas being floated around for years. Like, let's raise the enlistment age a little bit, right? Let's raise the GT score for the infantry Marines. But all that does is it filters out recruits,
manpower.
Manpower. You're not gonna be able to fill the numbers that you need to maintain, because the Marine Corps, when it's not fighting, which it's not doing 99% of the time, it's got other stuff it's got to do. And most of that's turning wrenches, connecting wires, things that aren't the infantry. even though that we are an expeditionary warfighting unit in readiness, we're solely meant to do one thing: is fight. We don't serve another purpose. Now we do other things because we can't fight all the time. So we do humanitarian stuff and we do other things. We're not meant to do that though. People get confused with that.
Yeah,
we're here to fight wars. That's it.
Yeah.
No other purpose. But so they took a look at that and said, "Oh, how do we get a better product?
A war fighting product."
Yeah, better war." So okay, you only got a couple. When you look at variables, right? Which ones can we mess with to get that better product? All right, so we start going through it. Well, let's raise an enlistment age. Can't do that. You're not going to get enough people.
Yep, you need them.
Let's raise the GT score to 110, maybe 105, 110. Not going to get enough people. You're going to get a lot of good people, but also other MOSs need those people as well. This is the nature of it. The Marine Corps could not function without. That's what makes us unique. We're self-supporting. We don't rely. The only other people rely is the Navy, and that's just for L-class shipping to get us somewhere. Other than that,
And corpsmen.
yeah, you're right. And I don't even consider those external support anymore.
I consider them.
really,
I consider them
Yeah,
integrated.
depending on which ones they are.
Green side.
Yeah. No.
Green side only.
Yeah.
And not even all of those probably,
but we're so unique in the fact that we can, that you can't just, when the Marine Corps does something right, as infantry Marines, we always want to tool it to the warfighter, which is that infantry guys who we're thinking about, right? But the Marine Corps can never, and that's the one thing that makes us unique and it makes us special. When it makes a decision, it has to think about the Marine Corps as a whole, or it's not going to work. And that's one of our biggest traditions that sometimes it gets in our way, right? But it's helped us as well. We can't, sometimes we use it as like a fix-all, or you say, well, can't do that because everybody's a rifleman. It's like, what is that? Like, what is it? I get the colloquial saying that you're referring to, but like, what does it mean, right? You gotta watch out sometimes with our traditions and how they get in the way. But so the Marine Corps thought, like, okay, well, we need a better product, right? So you can't. So how do you do it? Let's change the training a little bit, right? Let's get something better. Let's get a better product, right? So where do we do it at?
Beginning.
The beginning.
Got to.
Because I think the training in the fleet's better. You can't. There's no denying that. We got better ranges now. We got better.
You got experience.
Yeah, you get better facilities. You got better weapons now. We just do. I think the people at the top are a bit younger, a bit more willing to change. Your gunners. Some of your company commanders, your battalion commanders. They're of our generation.
Yep.
Right. So they're willing to think outside the box a little bit. Not that people previously weren't, but I think it's more accepted now.
Now, and so there are things that are going on new in the Marine Corps, such as the commando pipeline.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that at all?
Well, the biggest thing that's changed right now, this is where the Marine Corps' focus is the infantry Marine course. It's not like what you or I went through.
Now, this boot camp, right?
No.
Oh, this is after boot camp.
This is SOI. This is your ITB.
Okay,
It's
gotcha.
no longer that.
Yep.
I mean, it is something that the Marines coming out of this are more trained than the Marines that are in the fleet.
Now that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
and talk to
yeah.
that.
So
Speak to that a little
it's
bit.
just what they're getting taught, the level at which they're getting taught. There is no more sit in a classroom, get a class, go prac at it, your basic level stuff. No, they're when they get taught something, they're reinforced it and taught it over and over and over. Their marksmanship training programs they got there. I would say it's safe to say it's not. There's not too many other programs that rival it as far as how difficult it is.
That's what I'm being told, that some of the shooting is like straight up fucking precision accuracy.
Oh yeah,
shooting.
you can't.
And they're punching them.
Yeah, you can't. It's one of those programs that unless you focus on it and practice it all the time,
Perishable.
not gonna pass it. You can, and this thing's been tested, vetted by some of the best Marine Corps shooting teams. Shot it. They brought in special operations guys, shot it, and they all said, "Wow, yeah, this is it."
And now these guys are being trained this and hitting the fleet of their leadership having the old, not as up to par training.
Yeah. Yep. And I think,
And so growing pains are expected, I assume.
oh yeah,
for-
but you got to think about this though. It ain't going to take long, right? I don't, you know, I don't. You think about the turnover rate in an infantry battalion, right? Every 36 months, 24 to 36 months, the staff is leaving, right? That's a good, safe to say, battalion commander, all the way down to say like staff starting to rotating out.
Yeah.
Marine Corps is not worried about them though, right? That'll catch up. I don't think the Marine Corps is worried about them. The bigger population, right? You know, your E5s and below, right? Their turnover rate's not as quick, and really, because you know they're going to be there their full 4 years, 3.5, 4 years of their enlistment, you know, or in either EAS out of there, move on.
Yeah.
You know, we kind of Marine Corps controls the staff guys a little differently, but I think though, but two big turnovers there in an infantry battalion, two big manpower turnovers. There's going to be.
Set.
You're set.
Yep.
Really. The only people now you got to get trained up are your staff guys.
Yeah, and then with moving the TO down, like where staff sergeants are going to run squads, sergeants going to run teams. I like that, but that is where the pain comes in that first generation, right?
But that's, you know, in reality, that's why we have the advanced courses. That the Marine Corps is getting this right first, and then it's going to trickle.
Yep, up.
Yeah. You're gonna have to.
And then you're gonna have to look at like retention instead of retaining corporals or sergeants or you know, not lance corporals so much, but getting that second boost like they did with like Op4 and some of those things.
We know
that's gonna have to come in at like what, staff and gunny?
Yeah, well, retention's a bad problem right now.
Well, imagine.
So it's on infantry Marines. You can't keep them. Your tier one, you know, I don't know if it's classified into tiers, right? The way the Marine, you're aware of that. So tier 1s through 3, right? Tier 4 can't re-enlist. Tier 3 and up can have the opportunity to, but we can't keep Marines.
I think they're staying in a tour and getting out.
Oh
infantry guys.
Yeah, good ones too. And you think
they get paid?
Yeah, but what would keep them in? We and the reason I ask is
at what level?
I just got off a small working group about this. Some pretty thoughtful guys were on it, right? Some guys who have big influence in the Marine Corps, and we put down a pretty big list of things that we thought, you know, we went through them, we crossed them out. Like, these are just opinions, you know. These aren't tangible. We're talking about things you can do right now to keep a good infantry Marine around for another at least just 4 years. The Marine Corps doesn't have a ton to offer, right? Besides just being a Marine, right? We can give them money, but that's right. But what do we do? What do we do that makes a guy go, okay, I'm making like $30,000 a year right now, give or take, right? You can spit the TRICARE game to him all you want, but what would you care if you're 21? What do you care about that? You're not getting hurt. You're not worried about, you know, elements. You know what I mean? You'll find that out. And that's a problem. And to some degree, this is a potential fix to it, right? How do you keep guys around without giving them something tangible? You make them want it. You make them feel like they're a part of something that's a bit harder, a bit more special. And this is a good way to do it. I'm not saying this is the reason they did it, but this has got to be something that's tied in with it. You know, retention's you can get people in, but you got to be able to keep them, and you got to be able to keep the right people.
Do you think that the current events with Afghanistan, now I know, you know, retention's probably been a little bit of a problem since before that, and I think that the COVID mandating and such is getting some people out of the way that just don't want to cave there. Yeah. But do you think that some of these things, operational or strategic level things are affecting war fighters at the lower levels?
I think a few probably. I don't think on a mass scale. You know, and I'm just.
Well, what's the answer then of why they're not being retained when they otherwise they were?
I think there's so many opportunities nowadays.
No more war.
That's well, why'd you stay in?
War.
Yeah.
Well, the guys, but mainly.
Well, I think about why I stayed in. One, I got paid a little bit of money, right? That's part of it. I can't deny that.
Sure.
But it was this. It wasn't that I was just seeking out to go to war because I just loved it so much that I thought all I had been. I was a bit successful at doing it. Right. Maybe I'll go back again if I was asked, I could lead some more people. Right. Because once you get a taste of it too, right, it's a taste. It's kind of hard to
sweet taste.
Yeah, I mean it is. There's some negatives that can come with it, and may have. But God, you're not finding that anywhere else.
No,
I don't care what you go do.
Yeah,
try to replicate that. It ain't happening. So there's part of that, right? That ain't out there anymore. What are you going to tell a guy? You can go to Okinawa again.
Yeah, go to UDP.
Get on a Mew. No, these guys they're smart. They are, whether they're more informationally driven than you or I was, or you. They just are. I'll give you an example. I sat in on a study. They have people on staff now at the MEF levels that study generations and the difference, right? Because the Marine Corps has got to understand the customer. Generation X, right? The guys that are like the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps now, things like that, right? There's things that make them tick differently, right? You can say honor, courage, and commitment. They're going to get up and go, yes, right? Do it for the Marine Corps. They're going to go, yeah, absolutely. You don't got to tell me anything else. I believe it, right? It's because a Marine Corps manual said it. I'm going to do it. Then you got the millennials, like myself. Kind of a split there, right? Like the Gen X guys, their sole identity, they realized, was being a Marine. The guys that wear the red jackets when they retire, like the one you got hanging up right there. No, I'm playing.
I'm millennial too.
I know the red. The guy, those guys, the guys that we know about out here at the Waffle House, the VFWs, like the awesome dude you talk to. Then you got the millennials who they think they think it's a very important part of their identity, but it's not the only thing.
What is?
Yeah, whatever it is in their life.
Oh, you're just saying it's not that.
Not that, right? They have
Not
other
completely,
right? They identify as being very, very important. It could some of them it could be, but it's the Generation Z, right? The young guys, young Marines. It's not really. It doesn't make up a lot of their identity. The way they view it is it's a job, right? They come in, they do their job, they take their camis off.
Yeah.
Not their fault. It's not a negative thing. It's just understanding how they tick. All right. So,
what happens if your identity's war? Do you think that's a part of the like the disconnect for people like me and you that are always like
yeah, I think
because you got that taste of it.
Yeah, I think it could be a problem sometimes because if you let that be the identity, and it's something you're always kind of preaching, right? It can make people feel like they're never going to be like what you are within the Marine Corps, because believe it or not, these guys want that. Most of them, a lot of these Marines, they're watching these YouTube videos and do you remember all the moto videos that you watched?
100%, yeah.
Right.
Fallujahs
One
and
comes to mind
Nazarias
completely.
Oh, there's one. I think we all know that one.
Because they played it in SOI.
Yeah, they played it. Yeah,
everywhere.
What's the down with the? It's got the red heart.
Down with the sickness.
Yeah, it's got the
Thunder and Third.
Yeah.
Seether.
Right. Yeah.
Seether, yeah.
God, I wish I could
what we
play-
grew
oh,
up to.
Man. And right, that drove you. That was like, God, I want to be on a video like that. That's what I thought.
Or I just want to be with them.
Yeah, just with
Look
them.
what they're doing.
I want to be the guy in the back with the M16 203 that just gets told to take a knee on that corner and just. That's it. I don't even
Hold.
just hold. Right, but these guys don't. They're no different.
No, they're not.
They're not, and that's the thing. They're just raised different, right? It's not their fault. It's not anything negative.
I'd venture to say that it's positive if we're taking strides in the right direction.
These guys are. Man, here's the difference. Here's a big difference, right? If I got introduced to you as a young Marine, hey, this is Gunnery Sergeant Rains. This is his resume. Whatever I said in front of you is probably gospel, right? As a young Marine.
Yep.
These aren't that way. You have to win and earn.
Were you that way? Was it gospel?
No.
Yeah, I was going to say, I distinctly remember me and you sitting in and checking and Googling each one of our instructors at ISLIC and finding out who they were, where they came from.
But
what
that was
decisions
when
they
you
made.
were one of them, technically. You just hadn't been given that yet.
I mean,
we were a bit more seasoned.
We
Right?
were seasoned
Yeah.
and multiple deployments at that point.
And
So maybe there was.
I'd seen them behind the curtain a little bit.
Behind the curtain a bit,
A little pause here. I'll explain the Marine Corps to you real quick.
Tell me.
The Marine Corps is the Wizard of Oz, if you haven't realized that. And what I say is the Marine Corps is the yellow brick road, right? That's what we're traveling right now. That's what I'm trying. You all traveled it already. Some people never peek behind the curtain and see the little old man that's running the whole show, right? Because if they did, they couldn't take it, right? They think, right? They think this this whole thing's real, right? I'm just going to do it, right? You got some guys like me. I peeked behind the curtain a long time ago, and I saw the little old man running the show. I've just accepted it. I'm okay with it. I'm going to help him. You know, and I'm going to keep this whole thing going. You know what I mean? But the Marine Corps is a Wizard of Oz, and the sooner you realize that, the sooner it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I got
But,
you.
okay.
Never heard it like that.
Yeah.
Never heard it like that.
You know.
Theories and pontification. I love it.
But so these guys, these Marines tick different. So they, right? Like if you get up there and tell them that this gun shoots 3,300 meters, right? It's got a cyclic rate of 350 rounds a minute. They are instantly not going to believe you.
Like,
Right.
Nope.
I'll go watch 17 YouTube videos tonight from the guy who built this weapon, and I'm going to know more about it tomorrow than you do.
Do you like that?
I like it a lot.
I like that
It's
too.
dangerous, actually.
Well, the thing is, it makes it.
You got to keep your shit quick.
Oh man,
I was introduced to that as a platform instructor for Mount over at the TIG when I was instructing over there, and not that it was probably as much as now, but it started, and you'd see it, and you get those snipers, you know, those Call of Duty snipers.
Yeah.
No, that's not right, Sergeant,
Yeah.
or something like that. And I'm not saying that happened a lot, but as an instructor, you like part of your motivation is to not let that happen.
Yeah.
And so that made me like just knowing that they were out there and that they would do that. You don't want to lose credibility in front of 300 privates. And so you're digging even more into the book to know exactly what everything stands for, exactly what it breaks down to.
Yeah. Well, I think too that you're not gonna just step in front of people nowadays and they're gonna be like, oh, he's a sergeant. There is a level of respect. They're not that, off one way, but you're gonna have to earn it.
They're smart.
Well, they know where to look. I couldn't have told you where to look.
They grew up with that. They've been Googling shit since middle school.
Where would I have looked if my team leader told me the Mark 19 shot 3,000 meters? I was going to go to the learning center later on that day.
Go find a machine gun.
no,
Bible.
she would have been
right.
field daying or locked in
Yeah.
the freaking barracks room.
I didn't have a play. You say it. They go. It's a 5-minute break. They got their phones out. They're, hey, I got a question for you.
It says right here.
Yeah, it says right here. You happen to,
Wikipedia.
yeah, you happen to not mention this. Like, oh, I appreciate that. Right? You have to learn how to
Write that into the plan. Damn it.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah, read it for everybody. Read it.
Say it with your chest.
But the Marine Corps is not. The Marine Corps is just doing what they need to do right now. Right? They're just. Change is like the one scary word in the Marine Corps. It is. Tradition holds true. And they don't like it, and a lot of people, they're fighting back against this a little bit. Like, oh, we can't change it. We have to do something. We had to do something. Not that it wasn't going to work, but we got to get better.
Yeah.
Well, what are we doing if we don't? There's other people out there.
If you're not going forward, you're
There
not
are other people.
progressing.
They're getting better.
Yeah.
The rest of the world is getting better.
And from a much younger age and with much more brutal tactics than what we put our 18-year-old recruits through. Guaranteed.
So the Marine Corps is going in the right direction. There's no doubt.
No, I'm a big fan, man. Every time I talk about it with different people, I'm talking to a gunner yesterday that's affiliated with some of those pipelines, and it's just like, yeah, I like what I hear. I think there will be growing pains for what they say, 4 or 5 years until these guys coming out now and team leader and squad leader, billets.
Too, and it forces the instructor to be a lot better.
Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. The other side I wanted to talk about. Like before you go over to SOI and you're running privates and stuff like that, but you're not like squad leading privates. And isn't that what they're doing now?
That is. Yeah, it's expected now.
Yeah.
Right, we're not all the way there yet. Again, the growing pains, right?
And that was a hard job already when you weren't running squad.
You're having
so
to do the same thing.
You got to plus manpower up to
And
do.
now you got to know what you're doing
Mm-hmm.
because you're out there leading them through it.
And what's great about that is these are corporals and sergeants coming in to do this job out of the fleet, and now think about when they go back to the fleet, they're going to be way better than an alpha or a delta instructor in the prior world because they weren't doing it. They was more do as I say, not as I do, and that's gonna bode well for them keeping in their vein of profession. You know, you go to some B billets and you don't do anything, and I don't know what's a B billet anymore, but you go to some jobs outside your MOS like that to advance your career and, you know, go to the schoolhouse, those things. And before it wasn't like you could lose a little bit. You could lose a little bit of the edge. Mm-hmm. And if they're doing that and these guys are running squads and actually being tactical the entire class is what I'm hearing, that's going to bode well.
And, you know, I think too, the IMC kind of coming along when it did, the Afghanistan 1-8 deployment that just happened, right? You know, whatever the feelings about it are, you know, I think that reinforced a lot of things.
Sure.
We haven't had anything like that happen in a while.
Sure.
You know, a lot of people thought like, oh, we haven't, you know, we're not really, you know, Syria and Iraq kind of dried up. This happened. It's like, oh wow, you could be right there on a MEU. Or we haven't seen something like that since Iraq. You know, early Iraq. Come off a MEU, just being out there floating, and then
get smacked
right in the middle of it, and in the middle of something that there's no training exercise for that, right? Not that, you know. You're not running live fire. That wasn't a live fire movement down a golf course, you know. So, you know, if there's anything you could, you know, we try to get across to people is, I mean, it really is any time. Tomorrow we could wake up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of my speeches is what I'm telling these guys on River Road.
And there's no time.
There's no time to do anything except for get ready, because if you are not ready tomorrow to execute, it could be a big problem, and that's hard, man. As a Marine in peacetime, to keep in your head. I know it is.
Yeah, because it's because everybody says it, right? It becomes what do you call it? Deaf tone to some degree. I know the last 6 company commanders have said it to me. You got to be ready because we're, you know, the nation's 911 force. You know, you hear it, you come deaf to it. We went to Okinawa last year. What the hell is this guy talking about? Then you wake up, you go into PT, and somebody says, "Hey, did you hear what happened?" What? Whatever that is happens. We're leaving. Like we're.
Yeah, and what I fear sometimes that, like, and I don't mean to be talking shit, because a lot of it's just what they're able to view, see, and hear. But I think a lot of the new generation doesn't really understand the gravity of the geopolitical situation that we sit in right now tonight. Like right now tonight and early this morning, you had Russian separatists firing artillery over into Ukraine. And only thing I can think is false flag, you know, proxy in order to invade. And this has been a week since, you know, the ODNI come out and released it that they were going to plan to do that. And it's like, if you don't read the writing on the wall right now and understand that we are the world's 911 force and these are some NATO countries over here, it could be tomorrow that you need to have your shit squared away. And like I try to tell them, and it's just like you're still in command. You try to tell these, you know, we got to stay on. We got to be quick. We got to be quick. And it does. I can imagine that they become tone deaf to it. Like, yeah, okay, we just ended the war kind of thing. But in the off chance that it's tomorrow, then what? Yeah. You know, better to be ready.
You know, that's why reading's so important, you know. When you look at history, though, we're living in the most, it seems like, current event-wise, most unstable geopolitical.
For a minute.
Yeah, and where things could just kind of go off the rails.
Yeah, because it's not Afghanistan. It's not a country the size of Texas. It's Russia. No. It's China. It's people that we have deep roots and histories with that weren't always great. Yeah. So, and we don't got to get into it too much. It's going to unfold in front of our eyes. Yeah. But if we're the Marines out there, read the writing on the wall. Yeah. Soak up the knowledge from these guys that are still hidden and had been hidden, and they're in there for you, so you need to pick their brains. But I'll get off that soapbox. Yeah. Just near and dear. Near and dear.
Yeah, current events, man. They're huge. Knowing what's going on. Yeah, we don't. I don't never, and I should have. I should still make it a point to make people. You should be asking. We should be asking each other what's going on. Did you see that? What do you think about that? Right. We're too busy with other stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I think that the Marine Corps is in good hands.
Oh, yeah.
I know a lot of the gunners now, and they're hitters.
Man.
They're guys that take training.
I saw you had
serious.
James Finney on here.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that's like, you're like, man, I wish I could be kind of like him.
I want to be better.
Yeah. I want to date him. Yeah. No, sorry.
I'd like to take him to
dinner.
dinner. I'd like
No,
to
you
take
can
him
say
to
that.
dinner.
That's fine.
He's
Anyway, got you hooked up, bro.
He's a good-looking guy.
He's a great guy.
One of
He's
awesome.
the best, man. He was over at SOI some of the same times I was, and he was always one of those guys I gravitated to.
Yeah.
And we'd sit and bullshit about like the word of leadership.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like what? He's that guy.
Yeah.
So, and it's real. It's authentic.
Yeah.
When he says he wants to be a warrior, he doesn't. That's not bullshit. That's his life. And those guys are still out there. And as long as those guys are still out there, and those guys are still mentors, I'm not concerned.
No,
I'm not concerned.
The Marine Corps, you hear a lot of like, oh, this new generation, right? They're fine. They are. They're good.
And maybe potentially with the propensity to be better than
Sure.
us.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, Roger.
Great.
Yep. Please.
Isn't that what it's supposed to be?
Please be better than
Yeah.
me.
Please. Oh my God.
But don't
know
fuck-
more than I did, please.
Yeah, please.
God.
And listen to me when I tell you. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I didn't know anything.
That's what I try to tell them. Like, I know now. I've
Yeah.
matured, and I'm trying to tell you, if I could do it over again, I'd do all the things I'm telling you to do. I'd do all of these things.
Yeah.
So, well, listen, man, we've been after it for a minute now, and I'm gonna make sure that I tag Rains and Sons in your description. Rains and Sons, that's right here, local to Jacksonville area, guys. So, any of you guys local down here, check it out. You need brush cleared, you need side jobs done, you need lawn maintenance, cleanup. He does it all. Rains and Sons Landscape.
Yeah, we're Rains and Sons. I kept the lawn care out of the original, like, real name, because I didn't want to be tacked to that.
Sure.
But Premier Lawn Care is kind of what I have labeled underneath it, right? Because and we put that on there because we want to be able to offer like a full service. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We're not just going to come in and mow, blow, go. You know what I mean? We want to come in and get to know what your goals are, where you see your property. If you want things that you don't know how to do, or you don't know who to call, like, we help you with that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We want to be there for not just like this one time. Like, we want to, if you're going to live there for 30 years, well, I'd like to see your property grow for 30 years. You know what I mean? And be the guy that does that. But appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Local area to Jacksonville. Look them up. Give them a call. They're on Angie's.
We're everywhere. Angie's, Google.
Yeah, all of it. Check it out.
Just type it in.
Yeah, man. Well, Marcus, I
Yeah,
appreciate you
thank
coming,
you.
man. It's been like a soft decade since I seen
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
and jumped right back in.
I know.
That's how it goes.
We never got to the story, though, that we should have gotten to.
You talking about at school?
Fred.
Fred, yeah. Well, we'll leave Fred be, but I was going to tell the story at the same time. I told them the story about, you remember that fella we played a little prank on with the phones?
If you don't, I'll show you a video when we get off here.
Okay.
You don't?
I remember, like, we did a lot. We did a lot of
Do
messing
you remember?
No,
having,
not him, really.
You remember having this kid all wound up? Okay, I was going to say, I don't know how far
Now
I
I
have
got
to
it,
go
yeah.
into this to remind you.
That was good.
I told these guys that story, and I mean, we're standing in here, and you got 3 or 4 grown men just belly doubled over.
Oh, God. You would think that we were like, we had to find something.
I mean, I told him why. I'm like, dude, we just came home, and nobody else was really on that level, so they were going through and taking, and we learned stuff.
We made a rap
Oh yeah,
about one of the instructors,
Fred. Yeah.
Fred, and his hair.
And we can say Fred because that's not Fred's real name.
No, it's not. That was his hair's name. And we made a rap. We rapped it for the whole class at the end.
Yeah, the Gong Show.
Josh Hallrath, who's our chief instructor.
Yep.
I still
Johnny
talk to him.
Hallrath. Yeah, he's still over here
Yeah.
working.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's one of the old breed for us.
Oh, man.
You know, one of the old breed that, the old, you can get 3 or 4 DUIs and still make gunny.
Yeah. Well,
kind of breeds.
He was
the hard ones.
He was the type of guy that would come in. You don't know. You could obviously tell he did something the night before,
Oh,
that
bad,
wasn't sleep 8 hours and get a good meal. It was something
have like
different.
those Jacksonville Mall cargo shorts on with like a black hoodie.
He'd come in and he'd take us on a movement out to Land Ave and never stop once.
Yeah.
And you're like, how's he
Fast,
and never look back one time? You get there and be like,
because he hated us.
you'd be like, you realize the whole class is spread out for 3 miles? Like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know.
They'll catch up. I don't care.
Get faster.
Yeah, we're starting Land Ave now, though. They got time to catch up. Like,
Hey, we didn't fall out of those.
no, nuh-uh.
But we hurt.
Yeah, I was
We hurt
hurting.
bad.
It's okay to hurt.
That's the first time my inner thighs bled in my career. Mm-hmm. I didn't think it's possible, but they chafed so bad walking. He was at like a 6-mile walking pace. You know,
Yeah.
where you're literally using your offhand that's not on your rifle to like grab the rope and pull you along. But there's no rope.
Yeah. He wouldn't tie. He didn't even tie his boots.
No,
His boots untied. And you think, how can somebody walk that fast? It's probably because he didn't even know there. You know what I mean? Like, he just was the pain, the hate,
the hate and
the
pain.
hate kept him going at that pace.
The hate keeps me warm. Yeah, man. Right. He was awesome though. And who was the other one? O'Connor.
Yeah,
He's a little whippersnapper, man.
I don't know.
I had him in 3-2.
Yeah, he was on it. Like one of those guys that's like always like, let's go. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
like he took a fistful of methamphetamines in the morning.
But he
You're like,
didn't.
God.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Bald, real bald.
Yeah, like real bald.
Super bald.
Yeah, that's the generation of Marines that took rip fuel every day in Iraq. You know what I mean? Like, that's that generation.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like many of them died because of it.
Trugging rippets. And, God.
Dude, that was me.
That's also the same
Rippets.
generation
You got rippets.
that was the reason
I
that
lived
you
off
got
rippets.
locked in your first barracks room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the
That's
dude, he was
generation.
like, I don't even want to handle this.
Yeah.
Like, just go.
Get in here. Yeah.
Lock the door.
Yeah, and he was right. 100%. They hated me, and they didn't even know why.
Yo, they knew why.
They just,
You were new.
I knew. And I was a baby back then.
Because you could be
Change.
you could
Yeah.
come in
Change,
from
yeah.
you could come in from school and just be squared away.
But they hated that worse.
I know, because usually it was Thursday night and they were already ripped. They'd been cleaning rooms for 4 hours against their will.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, there's new guys. I hate them.
They
Guess
didn't-
I'm not cleaning my room anymore.
And
He
if you were
is.
super squared away, like over the top
is
squared
that what
away,
you think?
they did not like you. They wanted you to be kind of like, okay, not get them in trouble, but don't show them up.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. And
That's what these guys are going to come out of this school doing, though.
Yeah. And but they're going to know it too pretty quick, right? Because they get, they run.
Are they being told that?
They know it. There's maybe they're not being told. I don't know what they're in charge of telling
Like
them.
overtly?
I don't know, but like they know that it's different. They just it is what it is. But I mean, even some of the physical stuff they do, they're doing a 3 to 5 mile ruck run for time with the obstacle course, with the CFT, like on that. Like,
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're not doing. We weren't doing stuff like that.
Well, think about when they go to schools, though.
Yeah, they're gonna be better prepared.
They're
for
going
it.
to shred them.
The first time I did hard stuff like that, minus deployments, was in advanced courses. Squad leaders course. I went to advanced machine guns. I did some other ones. Like that's when I did stuff like that. They're doing it right away.
It's on point.
Yeah. It's good.
All right. Hoorah.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate it. Honored, humbled that you came.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. It means a lot, man. Appreciate it.
I'll be back. Hey, I'll be back at it tomorrow. I'm building a driveway for a guy at 7:30 in the morning.
That's what's up. Get after it.
Yeah.
Don't do it at the wrong spot.
Why?
I seen multiplicity.
Yeah.
Charged him a lot of money.
Yeah. I got you.
All right, man.
All right. Yeah.
Thanks, man. All right, guys. For Matt and Ryan, we appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Louisiana Gun Shop, your firearm headquarters, specializing in concealed carry guns, ammo, and training. You can get your Louisiana permit with us. Also a large selection of AR-15s, or if you are that build-it-yourself type of guy or gal, we have all the parts to build and customize your own AR-15. Glock, SIG, Taurus, Ruger. We have all the brands, both in the store or at LouisianaGunShop.com.
Not too far. You're marking a building. Hit him. Yeah, that's good. That's a good shot. That's money. Yeah.